Okay, the little blue box is on to say we're live. Today is the 18th of February 2018, and it's Angel and Artist night tonight. And on the panel with Angel and Artist is me and Yudit. So, Angel, Artist, Yudit, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you. Yeah, we didn't manage to catch up with Robert Kidner anyway, but he was around yesterday, so I know he's okay from that 7.2 earthquake they had in Mexico, which is really bad. And on that note, Artist has got some new stuff to show us, haven't you, Artist? He's been researching.
Yeah, some old and some new stuff. First, some old stuff to basically to tell the story, and then interject on some certain things that I found out, certain new angles on sites and new views. And first, I'm going to start with this familiar, maybe to some people. This is Ollantaytambo in Peru, and you can see the different kinds of constructions. If you zoom in on this part, you can see those false windows. And if you sing a flat E or play a flat E, this wall starts to resonate. But also, it's interesting those knobs on the stones that are often situated on the lower part of the stone. Sometimes high, but let's say 90% of the time they are situated on the lower part of the stone. Often also near a doorway. This is a doorway. If you look at the rest of the wall, there are no knobs. Here, just 3, but not very visible. And if you look here, you have another doorway. And again, all the knobs are situated near that doorway. If you scroll over here, you look a little bit down, there aren't any knobs. So what's interesting that those knobs, again, on this side, situated on the lower part of the stones and near a doorway. So there could be just what is an idea I had, is that those knobs could actually be telling what this doorway was used for, or the name of this doorway. It's just an idea I want to put out, a possibility. So that's interesting. And the next picture, I'm going to zoom out again. I will actually say what I think is the oldest construction on the site. And the oldest construction is often situated in the center of a site. Just like you have old cities, the oldest buildings are often in the center, and then the newer buildings are built around it. These are those doorways I just pointed out, and they are duplicated by the Inca civilizations, and these stones are cemented together. And so they try to mimic or duplicate what was already built on the site. You can see some repairs also with those smaller stones on this side. They try to repair it and also try to duplicate it. And these smaller stones are cemented together, and those bigger stones, these stones aren't cemented together. It's very smart, because if you have an earthquake, and this is an hilly terrain, and there's also sometimes some earthquakes in this area, those stones can slide over each other. So that construction is earthquake proof. And that is also probably why they have those odd shapes. They were probably made in that fashion to make the construction as earthquake proof as possible. Here's just a close-up of that wall. You can see that not one stone has the same shape. Every stone has a different shape. Sometimes very odd shapes. And here's that Inca wall. And you can see they try to mimic it, try to build it in the same fashion. Blocked off in the behind. Those false windows. And here now I'm going to tell you what I think is basically the oldest construction on the site. Well, I already told that it's in the center. No, what is in the center? That is on top of this hill. But what I think is this part of the construction, you can see it's also, the pieces are scattered around. So probably it was hit by an earthquake or a cataclysm, and therefore most of the construction actually fell down in the valley, also around. And also this side, they tried to repair it as good as possible. You can see here some Inca repairs on the side and around it. You can see the stones that fell off from that construction, the same color. It's a little bit more, yes, let's say a little bit more reddish stone. There's knobs also, but bigger knobs situated on the lower part of the stone. Here's one higher, but there's always an exception to the rule. You can see also see how big these stones are compared to those people sitting here. But I think then the civilization came and they basically built around those bigger stones. The next civilization came and built with those stones with the odd shapes that fit together like a jigsaw puzzle. And those knobs on the stones. Very clear. If you take a closer look, you can see they built basically around those bigger stones with these walls with the very odd shapes. So that's the second civilization, in my opinion, who came to this site and built with also very high technology and advanced building style. Then the last civilization, I put a yellow line around it and do this site, and that were the Inca people. It's also recorded that they built in this fashion. You can see they tried to mimic everything. They also built terraces, and they were already built by this previous civilization. You can see this is very advanced technology of building. And those stones that fit together so tightly you can't even put a credit card between them. And these are just boulders you can find everywhere in Peru. Just loose stones you can find everywhere. And these are cemented together, those stones on the right, by the Inca civilization. And predating that is the civilization who built with these stones with the odd shapes. That's very clear. Also, they carved near that site in Ollantaytambo, just in the mountain, in the bedrock. They also carved things out. You see, again, they have knobs. Here you have 3 knobs. And it's almost like they scooped it out with an ice cream scooper. Or probably they had tools that easily could carve in this bedrock. In front of it, you have some stones. You can see also some stones here that the Inca civilization tried to repair it again with smaller stones. You see stones falling over. Here's another angle of another scooped out of that mountain. Again, those knobs. And those knobs could just be telling you what this construction was used for, or the name of this site. Just an idea. Just on the corner of that little bit farther away on Ollantaytambo, you can see this construction. You can see already it's heavily damaged. Here, a whole piece broke off. Over here, a whole piece broke off. And they again scooped with some kind of device out of the bedrock. You can see some strains on the surface, some tool marks, just slightly. You can see pieces scattered all over the place. So this was again hit probably by a big cataclysm. It destroyed most of the construction on this side. You can see all those stones lying around. In the same fashion, they also did it in the Kekova ruins in Turkey, scooping out of the stone. Similar fashion. And also, it's not that very good visible, but you can see some tool marking. If we go back to Peru, I just want to point it out that it looks similar. Peru on top of that mountain, what I point out. Again, knobs situated on the low part of the stone. 1, 2, 3, 4 higher up. So there's always an exception to the rule. And if you look at the joints between those big stones, these aren't cemented together again. If you look at the joints between the stones, again, the knobs are situated on the lower part of the stone every time. So indeed, 90% of the time, the knobs of stones are situated on the lower part of the stone. So that's very interesting. Take another angle, you can see the tool marking better because the sun shines just over the surface. You can see the surface, the height of the surface, and little difference in height. You can see it a little bit more clear. You can see also here's a decoration. It may just be a decoration, or maybe it was done on purpose for something. I don't know. Again, you can see very clear on those smaller stones that are in between the bigger blocks, that the knobs are situated on the low part of the stone. And you can see the tool marks. Maybe if there's an engineer in the chat, he maybe can tell me what kind of tool markings these are. And you can see also the surface is flinting off. It's interesting that you have also other ancient signs that the surface is flinting off in the same type of fashion. This is in Peru, but also in Egypt you can see it. I will show some pictures of that later on. Here again, if you just you have this side, and if you just turn your camera to the right, you have this stone. Again, very tight fitting stones. You can't put a credit card between them. Surface is again flinting off. But you can also see a big bar across this stone, a very big bar. So put that in mind, this stone with a big bar. And we go to Machu Picchu, and you can see a similar big stone. Also, some tool marking on the surface over here. And that same big bar across the stone. But this is on Machu Picchu, and it's in a different location in Peru. What I want to point out, I already did it, but just for good measure, I will do it again. And you already guessed it probably. The bigger stones on this side are the oldest. I put a red line around it so you can see which are those stones. Again, this piece is probably broken off or fallen over here. Here's something missing that could be fitted in here. The bigger stones, again, in the center of the construction, so everything is built around it or on top of it. Then, in my opinion, the civilization came on the side again. Similar civilization built with a similar style, with those stones with strange angles on it and strange shapes, just like put together like a jigsaw puzzle. Again, most of the knobs are situated on the lower part of the stone. This is very similar. Then, in my opinion, came a later civilization. So this is the oldest is with a red circle around it. Then came civilization and put a green circle. Then came the civilization and put a blue circle or line around it. You can see again those false windows. So they tried to mimic something that was already on the side. You can see these are open. Probably those stones fell out due to an earthquake or civilization pushed them out for some reason. Again, if you sing or play a flat E in this construction, these false windows, it starts to resonate. Sometimes for a couple of minutes, if you hit the tune just the right way. You can see these are brick type of stones, not very odd shapes like these, with a green line around it. No, we'll zoom in a little bit. These are just your average bricks, a little bit bigger, of course. You can see that, but normal rectangular shape, and not strange shapes. And then the last civilization came on this side, and that was the Inca civilization. It's also recorded that they built in that fashion. But these stones are the only stones that are cemented together. So the previous civilization built without any cement or mortar between the stones. But the Inca civilization did. And also, they again mimic what was already on the side. So probably they still had knowledge what those false windows were used for. They tried to mimic it again. So you can see actually before the Inca civilization repaired and built on this side, there were 1, 2, 3 civilizations previous. Also, this construction, you can't see that good with the green line around it. Take a closer look. You can see those odd shapes. But one block has the same shape. Some look a little bit the same, and this is an upside down T shape a bit. It is also, but it's very different. You can see something that almost looks melted a bit. It's strange. It's almost like on an angle, and or it's just weathering. Could be also possible. You can see a crack in the stone. If you take this view, and if you actually walk around it and look from the behind in this same construction, you can see that basically there are 3 stones over here. So maybe those are the 3 stones that one day were fitted in here and that just fell out. So it's a possibility. Also, I want to point out that these are these blocked off windows in the behind. They are always blocked off. These were maybe also blocked off one time, but the stones were pushed out or maybe fell out due to cataclysm. And here I put a green line so you can distinguish better what odd shapes these stones have. But one stone is the same shape. They have a little bit of U type of shape. See, a little bit of a U shape of the letter U. A bit. These. Another construction just is also very amazing. Is in Baalbek, Lebanon. You can see big stones, and these have inverted knobs. So the knobs go inward. Here also, some people say it's for roof support. Well, very low roof support. You can see that in the next picture here. Very low roof support. It doesn't really make sense because these knobs were probably used maybe to put the stone in place or for something else. You can see those knobs go behind the staircase, so the staircase was probably put there later on. This stone is estimated around, I think, 300 or 400 tons, so that's very heavy. You can see again smaller stones around it, probably by a civilization who found this sign and tried to repair it, or just use these big blocks of stone as a foundation for their construction. Also, if you go back to Kekova in Turkey, similar type of knobs, inverted, very big stones. Here you can see some repairs by a later civilization. And if you look at another picture, you can see how damaged this is. This was hit by a very strong force and basically destroyed the whole site. You see all pieces are broken off, scattered around all over the place. But it was hit by a very strong force. You can see those, again, inverted knobs. You can see how big it is here. More knobs inverted. Again, situated on the most of the time lower part of the stone. Also in its construction, they try to repair it with smaller stones, but a lot of construction is flooded. So probably half of that construction is underwater. Here's another construction. You can see, again, bigger stones in the center of the construction, smaller stones around it, even smaller stones around that. This is the Osirian temple at Abydos in Egypt. Here's another angle. You can see that those bigger stones probably also were hit by a very strong force. Yeah.
It's a big screen. Right now we see in the big screen, you can make it more bigger.
It's already very big.
Yeah. It's showing on the you have to it's the picture showing Yudit.
Yeah,
can you make it any bigger?
This is already on my screen. This is almost 30 centimeters. So.
Oh, okay.
Or you have a very small screen. You look at this at a big computer screen.
Yeah, that's pretty big to me.
Yeah.
Can you see it all right, Yudit?
Maybe you have to go on a bigger screen, Yudit, because it's a big picture.
Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Oh yeah. I was talking about those big stones in the middle. You can zoom into it a little bit. You can see it was hit by a very strong force. Yeah, the pieces are broken off. You can see all kinds of pieces are broken off. Big cracks. This is even cracked in half. So a very strong force hit these stones because these stones are close to the hardness of granite. That's what I'm told. I don't know for sure, but most of the people who tell about this construction say that these bigger stones are close to the hardness of granite. So there must be a very strong force to actually crack these stones and shatter them a bit and crack them. You can see the wall around it is built with smaller stones. If you pay very good attention, you can see knobs on the stones over here, over here, over here. So here's a knob, here's a knob, here's a knob. Then situated on the low part of the stones. And here see some very small stone. They put in later. in the construction here is also a small stone. It's just like the civilization did in Peru and Bolivia that predate the Inca civilization. Also, you can see very clear that again, biggest construction with the biggest stones in the center of the construction. Around it, built with smaller stones again, a little bit like a jigsaw with the knobs on him. Just in Peru, just as the same in Peru, and then the later civilization came with the smaller stones that are cemented together. So same type of building construction and the same type of civilization who built with smaller stones every time. So the civilizations built and the knowledge for some reason was lost in the same fashion as in Peru, just like on this side in Egypt. This is another site that's similar to that previous site. And this is the Valley Temple of Khafre. It's close to the Giza Plateau. You can also see, again, the surface is flinting off, just like I mentioned in Peru. Those big stones, that also the surface was flinting off in the same type of fashion. So that's interesting. So maybe if those stones were poured on the side, the material is now dissolving a little bit for some reason. Again, if you take a close look at this side, the corners, the stones go around the corner. That's very smart to do because you build in this fashion, the corners are very strong. Very smartly built. Here again, stone goes around the corner, also over here. It makes the corner very, very strong. And this is still the Valley Temple of Khafre. And if you go to Peru, Sacsayhuaman, you can see they did the same thing. They built with big stones going around the corner, making the corner very strong. On that same side of Sacsayhuaman, you can see, I showed you just this corner. Again, the knobs are situated on the lower part of the stone. Again, not one stone has the same shape. And if you go to the Pyramid of Menkure, again, you can see stones. Most of the stones have a different size. And the knobs, again, are situated on the lower part of the stone. So, just like in Peru, Sacsayhuaman, here in Egypt, in the Pyramid of Menkure, also the knobs are situated on the low part of the stone. And what is interesting, just found this. This is Easter Island. You can see the statue. Hey, wait a second, again, not one stone is the same shape. As far as I know, I can't see knobs, but maybe they are not that visible. Again, you can see very odd shaped stones, and a very small one. So this stone is, this almost look, if you don't look at this Easter Island statue, and you just to take a look, it almost looks like a wall in Peru. Very similar, if you actually have a wall in Peru, it looks similar, see? Very small stone over here, but very odd shaped stones. You can see it's a lot of similarity, even
yeah, you just found those pictures, haven't you, Artis? You just found that stuff on there.
Yeah, I found it. I was researching on Easter Island, and I found one picture of this wall. I thought, wow. And there's some other pictures, but they aren't that big. They're very small. So if I show that in Hangout, it becomes too pixelated. So there are some other angles because I always want to make sure that it's not photoshopped in any way. But this wall is actually there. You can see very odd shapes. Yeah, I'm lucky I found it. This picture indeed, Karen. And this is in near Cusco in Peru, a wall. And you can see a lot of similarity.
Well done, Artis. We don't give you the name Inspector Clouseau for nothing, do we?
Yeah, indeed.
Haha.
Yeah, thank you for that nickname. I like it. Again, knobs on the stones.
Very good at his research, aren't you, Artis?
Oh yeah, I try to find as much as possible to make a point. Again, knobs on the stone, situated on the lower part of the stone. And over here, this is in Spain. It's the altar of sacrifice, translated. This is in Spain. You can again see stone going around the corner. A U-type, just like I mentioned in Pumapunku, a U-type of shape. See? Similar fashion. Only this is weathered a lot, and most of the stones over here you can see are lying in the valley. They broke off this wall. Most stones are scattered around. You take a turn with if you would stand on this side, you take a turn to the left. You can see this stone with the staircase. Again, you can see those stones. Here you can see some other stones. Another U-type of shape stone, just like in Pumapunku. And the stones are scattered all over the place. Here's a stone here, over here, over here. So this was probably also hit by a big cataclysm. It basically destroyed most of the site. You take a closer look at this part of that construction. You can see a staircase going up, smaller staircase on the left. You go to Peru, but this is in Spain. And you go to Peru, hey, similar type of shape. Big staircase, smaller staircase on the left. You put them side by side, you can see a lot of similarity. Over here, you can see there's something broken off over here. So maybe that part that is here still attached was also in the same shape over here, but it just broke off. You can see a lot of similarity. Put a red line around it, you can see the similarity that I want to point out. And this is another angle, just you can see the weathering on this. From another angle, it's also interesting to see. You can see it's a very hilly terrain, just like in Peru, Pumapunku, also on top of a hill. Oh yeah, this is what I want to point out again. You can see the U-type of shape, and those stones look like a jigsaw puzzle pieces a bit. And if you go back to Machu Picchu in Peru, you can see again U-type of shapes. Put together very strange shapes that are almost look like jigsaw puzzle pieces. So you can see the similarities there. In Spain and in Peru, they built in Bolivia. They built in the same type of fashion, the same type of technology, probably. There's another site. This is in Greece. You can see it's cut out of the bedrock, probably. You can see something there. You could maybe sit on it, and there's a footrest on the left. If you go back to Peru, you can see a similar shape again. Side by side, you can see it more clear. Here, footrest on the left. Maybe I can make it a little bit bigger. Hope this helps. You can see, maybe let's call this a sofa. You can sit on it and a footrest on the left. Here's a sofa, footrest on the left. And put some lines, you can see it. In the middle, you can say, let's call this an armrest. Also, here's an armrest. A false doorway on the right. Here's a false doorway on the right. Only on this construction on the right, that is in Peru, the top is missing. It's broken off. So probably this construction on the right also had a roof over it, just like this construction in Greece. You see a lot of similarity. This is in South America, this is in Europe. Built with the same type of technology and in the same type of fashion.
Hey, artists, they've made sure to tell us that everything is so different with all the civilizations, but all you can find is the similarities.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
If I just say Astral. Hi, Astral.
Hey, Astral.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You can.
Just about. Okay. Hey, can I just say, save me typing. A bum bag, it's one of those things you put around your waist with your money in it, your passport in it when you went on holiday. You know, that was just someone in the chat. All right, back to you, artist.
Okay. This is another site. This is in Spain, Termes in Spain. If you type in Termes Spain, you can find this site easily. You can see on this side, there were a couple of civilizations who built there. You can probably already see it. At first, I put some lines around it again. And with the blue line is the oldest civilization. Here, I made it completely blue. But you can see this civilization was carved in the bedrock again. Was probably the first civilization was on this side. Around it again, in the center of the construction, around it, there was another civilization, put a green line around it, to build with these big stones just around that construction who was already there. Then a later civilization, again built with brick type shapes, that normal brick type shape you use nowadays. The later civilization built also between the stones and around it these smaller bricks. Then the Roman civilization came and built on top of it. They basically used this ancient site as a foundation for their construction. And I think it was a bathhouse that was constructed, later on destroyed by the Spanish people who were in war with the Romans. And the Romans built with the smaller stones again on that same side. If you take another look at this side from another angle, like this, you can see it's a little bit more clear that you can see that the later civilization basically also maybe tried to repair this side with smaller stones. Or you can see it here on the left. Smaller bricks. And if you just put this in mind, this construction, and then we go to Bolivia, Imanaku. Hey, the same thing happened. Big stones with smaller stones in between. That's strange. The same thing happened. There was a civilization who built big stones. Then a later civilization came and built with smaller stones. Some of these smaller stones, what I read about, are cemented together. What is also interesting on this side, you take here, over here, you can see this pillar. And you have these 4 pillars. And you have behind this pillar, you can zoom in a little bit. If you take a close look at this pillar, you can make up decoration again, see? Some tool marking, again the surface is flinting off. Again. And here you have some repairs in between the smaller stones and around it the smaller stones that are cemented together. You can see the cement a little bit. You can also make up that maybe there was a decoration, and you can see just here on the side a little piece of that decoration. I can make it maybe a little bit bigger. So something that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe a hand or a foot. On that same side in that wall, here you can see also shapes that there was a decoration carved in there. And slightly make it up. Again, the surface is flinting off. And you have those heads in between that could be different people from different countries. There's some ideas about that, but also on that side here, what I pointed out here are those big stones with those smaller stones that are cemented together. Then you have this wall, and so most of the construction is like this, big stone with smaller stones cemented together. Then you have one wall that have bigger stones that fit together again so tightly you can put a credit card between them. And then bigger stones. And also you can see over here some pieces of that wall are lying over here. I'll take another angle. You see over here there are some angles on top of these stones. See? Over here. So probably those stones who are lying here on the right should also fit on top. So this wall was probably higher. Because you can see those angle shapes. Same type of angles over here in the stone, see? So probably those stones, and they also have the same color. So probably those stones should fit on top of this wall. There's another subject. I'll do different subjects all together. But it's also often you can see that the cataclysm happened 2 sides. That the stones were thrown all over the place. This is Midas town in Turkey. You can see also this was heavily damaged. some stones of this construction or parts of this construction are lying around in the valley. This almost looks like it's melted a bit. Only the staircase part survived. Well, most of the time, if you're in an old building, the strongest part of the construction is actually the staircase. Also, sometimes when there was a bombardment in the city, they said hide under the staircase because that's most of the time the strongest part of the construction. And this is survived. You can see something is missing here, but the staircase starts too high up, so probably there was the staircase part that was in front of here is gone, blasted away, and it looks a little bit melted. Also, this is in another place. It's in Portugal. If a staircase going up, it almost looks like it's melted. A cake that is an ice cake that is too long in the sun also melts a little bit like this. Again, the staircase parts right around it, all kinds of pieces. You can see here stone, here no stone. Everything is scattered around the place, so probably also hit. This was hit by a strong cataclysm. Here's another side. You can see the top parts is missing. There's a shape that something could be fitted on top of here. Staircase part survived. Here's some repairs with smaller stones by probably later civilization or just people who try to repair this side later on. And pieces of this, there's sad enough I don't have a photo of it, but pieces of this are lying behind this stone. So this was also hit. This whole big block of stone fell off. Here's another staircase carved in the bedrock. And they tried to mimic a similar staircase. They built around it. So again, this is probably again center of the construction, carved into the bedrock. And they built around it with smaller stones in a similar fashion. So probably this was already there. And they built around it with smaller stones. Again, you can see heavily damaged, cracks and everything. Here's another staircase. I didn't mention where it was, sorry. This is the rock fortress in Siginaya in Sri Lanka. You know where it is. This is again in Athens, in Greece, near the Sphinx in Athens. Again, a staircase. You can see inverted knobs again, also lower part of the stone. Again, the staircase survived. The rest of the construction is heavily damaged. It looks like it became fluid, maybe, at one point, because it's almost like it's dripping like a candle. Again, you can clearly, for sure, it was hit by a very strong force. Here's another site, very close to that site I just showed before, also in Athens. You can see this whole top piece is blown off. Maybe there was a statue. The rest of the construction, again, just like in Turkey, heavily damaged. Probably by a big cataclysm that hit this site. Here's another one. This is in Peru. Staircases again. And these are upside down. They are thrown around a couple of meters from the original site. They broke off and were thrown around a couple of meters. So very strong. A human is about this high. So halfway. If you're around 6 foot, you go halfway. So this is a big chunk of stone that was thrown. A couple of stones were thrown a couple of meters around.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
That photograph previous, yeah. If you invert that, where does the staircase go to?
Basically, there's a side, but it's shattered. So the whole site, it's now in puzzle pieces all over the place. But basically, the foundation is still there, but the rest is all scattered all over the place.
I don't think you know what I mean. If you was to invert that picture,
yeah,
then it looks like you're walking into a brick wall or you're walking into a stone wall. There isn't anything beyond.
Yeah, if you walk up, you have here a false doorway, basically. Like you have all those false doorways and false windows that are blocked off. It's what you often see, a staircase, and it goes basically
nowhere
to a false doorway or false window. It stops.
Yeah, and there's 5 steps there, isn't there?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're like putting like their little altars or something?
Would be. I don't know. But what most of the time is the case, that is those stones have magnetic properties and they are sound resonant.
Yeah, no, I've noticed as well that the steps seem to go in like a sequence of 3, 5, and 7. I don't know if anyone else,
Oh yeah.
I know a
Yeah,
lot
this
of
is
things.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5.
I know this may be a little bit off, but I suggest that some of them may be their address in like longitude and longitude and latitude, right? Based off the Great Giza Pyramid being the prime meridian, and they probably follow the code as taught by Carl Monk. He has a couple of videos and stuff that represent how you use it to do math. Like, as you're saying, you can see division like 3/2 and the shape and the distance, and it can somehow mathematically tell you where you are. Like, that would be their address at the entrance to their property, or like you're saying, they're on the top of a mountain. So someone from altitude can see that and calculate a number off of it to give them like a waypoint and to let them know where they are as a navigational thing. Although that one does look like it was physically thrown. But
this is also on top of the mountain. You can see an observatory for looking at the stars and the mountains in the back. So this is also the highest point of that mountain.
And that one that you had shown a few back, I mean, when in comparison to the house, the steps would have been like 8-10 feet tall. That one.
Yeah.
So that's not for like a person to climb, and I don't really think it's for a monster to climb. I do think it would have been like a waypoint. Mathematically, it can probably calculate something out. These guys were very heavy into math, and that may even follow the Fibonacci spiral for all I know. I mean, if you really looked at it, I mean, we give them a lot less credit than they deserve. They were masters of this. I do think more and more you look at it, some of those things may be originally carved out of the rock and then poured back into the shape that they wanted. Like some of that, it kind of looks cast.
Can I
Yeah?
say? I was just wondering about the the elevation. We know that they're not all at the same elevation. They're at different elevations, aren't they? What does that have in respect to? Well, I'm looking at it on like a slice. What do you call it? A plane view. If you was to imagine different planes in front of you, different levels, the heights of these temples and things I'm talking about now. Do we know anything about that?
No. I think nobody did actually research about it, as far as I know. That's indeed an interesting thing to.
Staircases seem to be the thing, or these step things. They seem to last out of everything, don't they? The rest of it's been pretty well destroyed, except these kind of staircases.
Yep. Well, the staircase is most of the time the strongest part of the construction. Yeah. Survived. The rest is completely gone. This is relatively okay.
Yeah. Plus, it's a basic structure for a pyramid. If you think about it, keep going, steps, 4 sides, 3 sides.
Yeah. Again, you have also steps 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe. You have these knobs on the stones. Some people say that's a calendar, and that these are the months of the year, and these are the sun and the moon or whatever. A calendar.
Yeah, how many of those are there?
Knobs? 1.
Yeah.
Here's one missing for some reason. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 3 knobs on top. But you also have to bear in mind a piece broke off. Here, this here is a piece broken off, and here is a piece broken off. Here you can see pieces lying. Over here is the whole block. This is also hit by a very strong force, probably cataclysm, in this side. And here are the pieces lying around. Yeah.
Wow.
and they're lying far around. So this is a piece, and over here is also lying a piece. That's now maybe 100 meter away. And this is maybe now maybe 50, 70 meters away. And this is probably even further.
Yeah.
But this, you can see all the pieces are lying around. So this was hit by a very strong force. And those pieces could be fitted on here. Eh? You have these shapes that something could be fitted on there. Or it was just a very cool skateboard park.
That one looks like it's been pushed out of the ground a bit, Artist.
Oh, knows that this? I don't know.
I have a question. I wonder if anybody has ever measured them and logged them all and put them all on a file, downloaded them all, so that we can see each rock, how big it is supposedly. Has anything like that been done? I wonder.
No, not to my knowledge. There is a drawing from this site, but it's not a very.
Working on that now.
Yeah.
Hi, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
Hello.
Hello, Jay.
Jumbo.
Okay,
Yo, what's up?
Hey, man.
Hi, Jay.
It is so good to be back with all of you in the groove, watching Stones. Awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you can see this was hit by a very strong force that scattered everything around. This is the same type of thing happened. This is in Pumapunku in Bolivia. Again, here some pieces lying over here, over here, all the way scattered. You can see this foundation is actually cracked on an angle. So I think one part of the foundation is almost halfway into the ground. So this again was hit by a very strong force that's basically destroyed the whole construction.
It's a strange shape, that as well.
Yeah. Here the same thing happened. And what is interesting, probably two civilizations pay very good attention. You can see those lines are on the angle, see? See? Here I put a red line on all the lines. But this construction actually is on his side. That's very strange when you know and you never build on this angle. So what probably happened is that it was hit by a very
Artist, it almost looks on that one as if the bit on the top is come afterwards and the buildings were underneath and something's frothed on top.
Well, what it appears to look like, it's melted a bit on top. I'll show you another picture. And it's put on an angle, basically probably what hit by such a strong force that the whole construction basically turned on an angle, and then a later civilization came and carved this doorway in, because that's right up, that's not on an angle. But the rest of the construction is older, and they carved later on. The civilization came and carved the false doorway out, but the construction was already there. Take a look. These are those lines that you can see the stones. And
where's the rest of it?
The rest is over here. See? You can see again those lines. You can make up the stones. I put
and it's kind of melted.
A lot of work. See? These are the stones. Here, some pieces are broken off. Here, some pieces lying. Basically, pushed into the ground. There are pieces lying over here. Here's a small wall that was probably built later on and with these smaller stones. Take a look back, you can see those lines here. This is basically melted and fused together a bit. Then, so this wall goes on down, and then you have this. So this is part of the same wall. But it goes all the way over here. And this is how it looked from the front. See what happened? A very strong force went through this here. This is a whole hole over here. Again, all the pieces are lying around. All the pieces are scattered. And this is, force basically squashed this and melted it. And then a very strong force went through this side. Actually, if you look at Google Earth, it's over here. You can also see the similar mountains over here. They pushed aside. You can see this is the electrical discharge. You can see here there's a whole lowered place. That also the mountains were pushed aside with those Lindenberg figures. The one goes all the way over here. You see this is basically, it's almost look like burn marks. They are so a different color. So something happened over here, and basically this is also that other side I showed. Pumapunka and Tiwanaku are in the same range. This is a valley now because of the electrical discharge made this valley. And over here the same thing happened, and also what is recorded, but there aren't a lot of pictures. There actually is also a sunken city. So part of this wasn't underwater, but it was overflooded. This is that false doorway. So bear that in mind. You can see those lines on the angle. And if you go to Midas Monument in Turkey, you can see also the same burn marks. Maybe this was a previous construction, and later on they carved this in, or this was part that survived the blast. Could also be the case, of course. You can see here on the right construction that is completely melted and destroyed. You can almost see that it is folded over in a different shape. It folded over like this, and so probably this force came from this mouth and went through this. Because you can see actually the wave went from the back to the front through this, and that's why probably this survived, because there was enough building before it that this was preserved, or it was carved later. Who knows? There's another side. You can see it's almost that it became liquid. Pieces broken off over here. You can see this is almost looks like it is melted at some point. You can see also those little bit dark patches on it. There's another construction. You can actually see that the pieces are broken off and lying. I was happy to find this photo. You can actually see that the pieces fell off. You can see how you can hardly, again, false windows. But yeah, it's so much destroyed that you can hardly make up what it was. It was a building at one point, or a construction, but everything broke off and fell down, scattered all over the place. Actually, if you look at that area from Google Earth, you can see here that again the mountains with the valley in between, probably a force hit that side and pushed those mountains aside. So again, you have something that looks like an electrical discharge strike. That's in Turkey, and the Midas Monument is over here. There's another side you can also see that again, if these falls, we notice a little bit deeper, and actually here you can go inside. But again, you have those staircases, hardly can make them up, weathered away or became melted, whatever happened to here. You can see this is also, you can see the strong force hit this side. Here's the same, this is Turkey again, another side. I don't know the name, I have to find it out, but you can again see all pieces scattered around the place over here. You can see, and this is again something like a staircase shape that survived the blast. If you go to Bolivia again, you have here a big construction. And here you can see you can see still a little bit. Oh, zoom in. Over here you can make up the stones. Here you can see just barely. You can see there are still construction stones over here, but the rest is fused together. Here's a staircase. Here's a big staircase. So again, the big staircase shape and a small staircase with smaller steps. And this is bigger steps. Again, it could be caused by weathering, but here it almost looks like it is melted. I have another angle over here. If you zoom in a bit, it looks almost melted at one point here. some patches that you think, very odd. It almost looks like it was melted at one. But again, later civilization built around it with smaller stones that are cemented together. This construction is, or it's weathered very much, or it is melted. You can almost see a stream over here. That is very strange. And if you look at the top of this construction, you can actually see ripple effects, like you get when you also melt plastic or other surfaces. Hey, it almost looks like here. Burn marks over here, whole ripple effect. Here it goes all the way down, the ripple effect. Take a closer look over here, see? You see a whole ripple effect, like it almost became fluid, because certain parts are still somewhat level, but certain parts have that strange rippling effect. Just like over here, it almost looked like it boiled or melted. Again, on top they built, and the later civilization came there and built with smaller stones. Here you have two lines. I don't know what they are, but who knows? Maybe just for catching rainwater. Could be. But you can see this almost looks, as you look at this construction, almost looks like a melted cake. If you have an ice cake and leave it in the sun, it also gets this shape a little bit with rippling and everything. So something probably also hit this side, basically melted it away. Dit was my basically my presentation with some new views I had about certain construction. If there are any questions from the chat or from the people in this hangout, I will be glad to answer them as good as possible.
Artist, what do you think those lines are further up there? Like there's two lines.
I don't know. I really don't know. There are more lines on other structures, and I'm looking into it because there are also other ancient signs with similar lines.
Yeah, plus, I'm thinking to the lines there. What is that? It looks like almost like a ski slope. You know, is it a road or is it a roof?
I can zoom in a little bit that you can see that part a little bit clearer.
Yeah.
I have a question for you, Artez.
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Popol Vuh? It talks about Cataclysm, the Mayan book, and because I read Emanuel Velikovsky's Worlds in Collision, and in the Popol Vuh, it talks about naphtha that fell from the sky, and actually translates to Aramaic to petroleum. So when you're talking about fire and burning and these things being destroyed, I'm wondering if some of this damage was done by Venus's pathway or her. I was curious to know if you were familiar with the Popol Vuh and all that stuff.
I didn't look really into it, but I've heard about it and read about it indeed in some text that they mention it, that, like you just said, that could be the cause of it. Yeah, it's a possibility. Yeah.
Just there in front of you, it looks like the edge of a building there or something, doesn't it?
Mm. Looks odd anyway.
Yeah. Actually, the name of this site is Samaipata in Bolivia.
Artist, what's those buildings behind then?
Oh, over here, that's later construction by the Inca civilization. Just like here on top. But here you can see, there's a doorway, but the rest is destroyed. Here's a stone, probably more stones, but these are relatively in good shape. But that could also be the case that they repaired them. Sometimes they repair those old Inca construction as best as possible.
You know, I've just had like a fun idea. I mean, it would be quite a task to do, but to make like a 3D model of that, the whole site, and to run it as if water is flowing through the whole thing, you know, because it just looks like a giant waterfall kind of thing, a flowing, you know, not like falling water, cascading in that sense, but, you know, gentle waterfall. From this perspective, anyway. It would be fun, that. I mean, I know it would take forever to do, probably, but
Yeah,
someone
but
could,
indeed,
someone
it's
could do it.
a great idea. And a lot of ancient structures have flowing water through them. A lot of sites in Peru, you can see water channels in them. Just like those other sites I showed, you can see actually in
Yeah.
the levels. That I can maybe show that site real quick. I have to go back. I close this one.
What you have to
otherwise
do
it
is
makes
you have to
it-
stop thinking it's just rocks and look and see if it's a building.
Yeah, some things that you can almost make up, and you think, oh, maybe that could be a building, or something like that indeed. Oh yeah, over here. Let's go back to the hangout. Yeah, I just tried to find the picture as best as possible. I hope it shows up a little bit in this picture. If you actually look over here, you have two drains. Here, the water can fall here, and then you have actually around it, around the whole construction, you have this cutout thing that actually water, and then it can drop down another level. So you have one level over here, then it goes to this level of water, and then you have actually over here on the right another level that's lower. The water again can lower to a lower plateau. So the water can flow through this structure. It was like you mentioned in that other structure. Maybe at one point it was similar to this. But yeah, it was so melted by that force that you hardly can make up anything anymore.
That channel there, that's for the water, yeah.
Yep.
Is that made of, or is that carved out of stone? Is that floor of stone there, or is that like...
Yeah, the surface, as far as I know, is a hard bedrock, and they carved it out. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's all around. Actually, I've
That's the same one we looked at a few weeks ago. That off to the right has a lower section to it as well, and right behind it, that same channel goes to a sewer like grate that goes down and then spills to the lower section. It's an amazing setup.
I can, great that you remember that, Angel. That's indeed the case. And I can actually show you one of those constructions of that site. Thanks for pointing that out, Angel. It made me remember that I had some more pictures. Can you see it? Yeah. As you can see over here, this is the first level. You have here the drains. You go to lower over here, you have the drains go lower. And here you have that all around. You have a drain, let's call it a pipeline or something going around that construction.
Plus those, just
over
go
here.
back. Sorry.
No problem.
You've lost
Those
Jay.
Those steps there, where do they go? They don't go anywhere, do they?
No, not at the moment. But they are still finding pieces. So, yeah, this is what they excavated. Some
I'm wondering,
pieces
like,
are still
if
missing.
it was flooded, then a boat would be there, you know. Oh, from somewhere, I don't know. No, that's crazy too.
You never know.
Stairs from nowhere again.
Yeah. Again,
Well,
surprised.
the lower level, which is actually one level lower than that,
Yeah.
I think it was flooded. He had pictures
Over here, yeah, you see this level.
yeah, where you showed the little dead end paths that you said they must have been short people because they were only like 3 feet
over
tall.
here.
I just think those were that pool right there. I think that was flooded, and the stuff that's in there now, he clearly showed used to be out in the farm area, and they just moved it in there to make it look pretty for the tour.
Yeah, indeed. That's a possibility indeed. Yeah. But here you can see the drain over here goes down. And actually you can see here, they're still doing excavation work on this side. So you can actually see here it goes to this. And actually here in the corner, it goes down and then it goes in that basin that is lowered. But this is carved into the ground.
Significant, isn't it? Water must have been so sacred.
It was very
It's gravel.
important in these ancient structures. You can often see that there was water flowing at one point through the construction or around it.
Yeah. Highly valued.
Yeah. It's a best picture I have. Yeah. But it's very hard sometimes to get those right angles.
And if you only see a picture of a piece of this and a part of that and a piece of it, each piece itself is an awe. But when you put them all together and see the overall, like that, this is like the side of a mountain type thing, and it's like several layers, and water would flow from one layer to the next, and there are those catch bins, and it brings it over, and then it was a very large engineering project, and something that they really don't give these people credit for.
Indeed. It's built with such a precision. That's amazing.
And when you're dealing with with water, things have to be really level.
Yeah.
Otherwise, water flows the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah, you can also see it over here. This is a little bit higher than this. You see, this is already a little bit lower on the left. That line going around, it is lower than this. See? You see it over here. Just a little bit. Just enough to let the water flow in that direction.
And we don't quite know what it is. Do you think that the one that's lower down was a waterfall or a swimming pool or something?
Yeah, who knows? Could be. It has to do with water, so maybe it just was maybe used for indeed washing yourself, or yeah, could be. And maybe other purposes. Here's the corner actually. Yeah, you can see that the drain goes into the ground and probably fills up this.
Yeah, and those stones on top, they were for washing the clothes on, of course.
Who knows? Who knows?
Of course, it's the laundry.
A big laundry.
Dip them and away you go. And if you fall in, use those heads to climb out again. Or when the water's low, you bash your clothes on the heads. You bash your clothes on the heads. They're washing heads.
Actually, there's a staircase going in, so you can walk out to the staircase. But yeah, maybe that was, and maybe it was to do with also washing your clothes. Who knows? Yeah. You can see those.
I think that's way too ornament for washing clothes.
Sorry, Angel?
You mean they went to a lot of work for that, Angel, to put the washroom?
Well, maybe it had multiple uses, eh? That indeed one was for washing yourself, one they had multiple purposes.
Well, it's obviously whoever it was built it had the monopoly on laundries.
That's for sure.
I don't know. But it's something to do with water. That's apparent with all the little fountains and things. But I mean, yeah, we can just guess our way and clue our way forward, I suppose.
And even close to it is a pyramid. Eh? Let's see if we got here's something in a hole. That something is missing again. And hey, over here you can see the drain's a little bit better. Here's a pyramid, and they still are excavating it. It's not uncovered yet all the way here. This is basically a step pyramid. Eh? And it is just on the other side here. So this is that construction. And just very close to it, you have the pyramid. So that's interesting that very close to that site, built in a little bit of the same fashion, there's the pyramid. So that's also interesting that you have a pyramid shape close to that site. And on top you have again those broken pieces, again scattered all over the place. This one is still staying, but it has a crack over here. It was also cracked. And what is on that stone is this. I don't know what it is, because I don't know anything about ancient writing. Not at all.
It's like Quesimacudo or whatever it's called. Can't say it.
Quetzalcoatl.
Say it again.
Quetzalcoatl.
Quetzalcoatl. Looks like that.
Yep. Well, you can see here that goes down, and the pyramid goes down like this. And here you have that construction. Here the lowered part. So actually water can flow from that pyramid in that direction. See how close it is? Very close. So this water also can here go over here in the drain. And these are just some stones they found and put aside. Here part of the drain, a hole. Around this shape with a hole.
Yeah, they did all that with a pickaxe, didn't they?
Yeah, all of it. Yeah, for sure.
But that's all just randomly placed
Yeah.
there.
Also those stones in Egypt that are 0.002 from actually being completely level. Yeah, they always tell you they're done with copper chisels and stone hammers. Yeah, sure. Not. Is a statue on that side. I found a decent picture of that statue. On the bottom, no, that's not very big. A little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's good. What's he got in his hands?
Yeah, it almost looks like scorpions or something, or spiders on his belt. And he's holding something. He's holding an Homer Simpson mug. No, I'm kidding. Just like Karen holds. Yeah. And he has some type of tool. It's weathered a little bit. He has some type of helmet on, that's for sure. There's some very small decorations on his face, which look like tattooed in. Here's another one, similar, also in Imanatu. You can see this almost like he has some type of tattooing on his face, also here on his arm. What is interesting that this hand is normal, but this hand almost looks inverted. That he's grabbing something in a very strange way. See, but this is ours. I'll make it bigger.
Back of his hand, yeah. Inside your hand.
Yeah. These are his fingernails. You can also see here. This a little bit maybe too big. Fingernails. Yeah? They made fingernails, and here are the fingernails over here. So this hand almost looks like it's. And you're grasping something. You can do that with your hand, but you almost break your wrist if you do that.
Well, back in the Masonic days where they put their hand in the vest, they would hold their hand over. No, I'm making that up, but it does look like that.
And also, this almost looks like a robot. Here, he has arms, like Bender. I don't know if you watch Futurama. Almost looks like that robot.
You're so right there.
Yeah. Who knows? And this almost looks like actually a bag for golf sticks. Or golf stick, not a golf stick. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. So maybe they played the game. And that is actually he's holding things for a game they played. Who knows that these are just a very popular game. We also now make statues of people who play soccer. In Germany, we have a statue of a soccer player kicking a football. Or maybe this is just.
Maybe it's saying that it's got the people by the legs.
Yeah, who knows? Yeah, got you by the legs. Maybe that was an expression back then. But they made, actually here. These are his feet, and he's wearing some type of trousers. Well, it's a warm climate, so they are not very thick, because you can see some skin. Here is an ankle bracelet.
Well, it's obviously from Scotland.
Who knows? That's, yeah. Oh, this is a doodle sack. Maybe. And this is a kilt.
Has he got one of his eyes open and one of his eyes closed?
Now open both of them.
Both of them.
And he's wearing a headdress. You know, when you play rugby, you also wear a helmet. No, maybe it's just a statue of a very popular game. He's wearing an helmet. And he's wearing here the tools to play the game. Holding. Yeah. Maybe it's as simple as that. This is a face from that size. They found a face on that location. These are older pictures. You can see the doorway was cracked. They put it a little bit. So this is how most of those sites, how they found them. Also like this. Later on they repaired it. Here it's still broken, and here they put it way up. You can see also the height it is. So it could fit a little bit larger. People could go through it. And this is actually how it is nowadays. You can see that crack over here. I put a rope around it so you can't go on near that structure. This is something else. Yeah, this is how those statues were before, and now they place them inside to maybe, just to make sure that they are not stolen or whatever. Who knows? But one day they were in a different setting. Oh, this is to keep us safe, federal law, blah 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 blah. I had it also on that side. Sometimes I use this, but it's always good to show it. But basically, these are the pictures I got from that side. But I will try to find more, because sometimes another angle can give you a whole other perspective of a site.
Yeah.
That is what is interesting.
That statue is very interesting, wasn't he?
Artist, where is the picture with under the sea?
Oh, those pictures, but I didn't. Those pictures I showed before, but I didn't ask the guy if I can use them, and I don't want to get Karen a strike. So I first have to ask the guy if I can use those pictures.
Oh, okay.
Probably next Sunday, if he replies, so we can show those. I have something else. What I have looked into, it's not finished yet, but also maybe continuing for next. You know the Nazca lines, over here. Actually, you have a pyramid over here. So they say, the blueprint for a pyramid. Well, actually, the pyramid isn't that far away. It's over here.
You have the whole Giza Plateau.
Yeah. See? And actually, if you take a closer look at the pyramid, this is from above. You see some construction as step pyramid and a little bit. And this is from the ground up. See? Pyramidic shape. I don't know if it's actually 100% considered a pyramid, but you can see that it's a construction going up. They still are uncovering it. So again, it's not finished. They are still working to uncover the whole structure. Here, see, it's work in progress. It has a pyramidic shape a bit. It goes up in steps. Again, a staircase going up. Just like that pyramid I showed before in Tiwanaku in Bolivia. Also those steps going up. And this one has a little, looks similar. This is in the Nazca lines, and this is in Peru, so it isn't that far away. It's basically, one is in Bolivia, one is in Peru, so it's not that far away from each other. I just want to point it out, there is, if you're in Nazca lines, there's a pyramid over here, or pyramidic shape. For the people who didn't know it, just want to point it out. Maybe you don't have to look that far to actually find the blueprints of this construction.
Yeah, if you go to blueprint.giza.ws,
Yeah.
there's a video done by a guy named JD that at least shows the Giza pyramid, and then the other pyramids are up to the left, and I'm using that to do my best to reconstruct the structures.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, that probably will help you a lot to do the construction as accurate as possible.
That, and also fill in the areas that were damaged upon entry when we broke into it, and over the past several decades, the modifications we've been making to it.
Yeah. Yeah, if there are people around that want to sponsor Angel with this project, please do. What was your site again, Angel? That they can get to you if they want to help out.
Giza.ws is or Great
You can
Giza
put it in
Pyramid.
the chat room here, Angel, and I'll pass it on to the chat room.
Yeah, not a problem.
You can say it again, Angel.
Giza.ws. It's a little short website, or greatgizapyramid.com. Either one of them will get there. But to get to the blueprint video, you just go to blueprint.giza.ws. And that really shows what he's talking about. It details it. They're taking a lot of time tearing it apart and turning it into a 2D blueprint, which hopefully will represent the 3D model. So I'm really got my fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, I can imagine.
But yeah, the fact that the Giza pyramid is documented in the Nazca lines, and that we didn't know about the Nazca lines until the early 1800s, and we didn't know about some of the features inside the pyramid that the Nazca lines document until the later 1800s, when we started blowing stuff up and exploring certain areas. It really shows that these are, in my opinion, the blueprints of the structure, because it details things that we didn't know about until after we found the Nazca line. And we didn't even realize that the blueprints were there. And if they did, they don't tell you that in the history books. But they are there. They're on the structure. They're pretty pretty easy to see once you look at it. And it's quite an amazing, even better compliment to my work.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I put it in the chat room for you, Angel.
Thank you.
Yeah, you've got quite a few videos on your channel, haven't you?
Yes, I do. I need to update some of them, because as I learn more, I realize some of the mistakes I made. I was assuming things, and now that I have the blueprints and stuff like that, I don't have to assume.
Yeah, that's handy.
We
Yeah,
can
as
always watch
researchers.
some of your videos, you know. We can always play one or two on Sun and Moon.
Yeah.
If you want, some of them are, well, I consider them to be long and boring because I made them. So.
Well,
I like your T-shirt with your telephone number on it and stuff. You're wearing your details.
I like his bobblehead.
Oh, that one. I can show you because it's also.
Oh yeah, show him.
Yeah,
Go for it.
I find it. Then people can see it also. As,
You seen it, Angel? He's made one of you.
Yeah.
Oh, the video. Yeah, our art. Yes, I think it's actually quite cool.
Here you go. You can also here. Here, Giza WS and www.giza
Exactly.
pyramid.com. Yeah. So this is and that's the Great Pyramid. Yeah. And maybe this is.
Excuse me.
Did I send you this one to you,
Yes.
Angel?
Yes, I believe I have a copy of that.
Okay. You can also hand it out as a business card.
I think that would be cool.
Hey, artists, as you got those pictures up, do you wanna? I know that it's a few days ago now, but do you wanna do your SpaceX ones?
Oh, that one. Oh, yeah. It's already a few days
In
ago.
case the chat room haven't seen those.
Oh, they are in the Tesla Fun folder. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, the
Then you got
Tesla car in space, and I
You
pasted
know what they
some.
should have is that one looks good, but I was thinking have like the USSR with a little red light behind them pulling them over for speeding.
Oh yeah. I saw that one on Carlos Sunshine. Also did a video with different people in that car, and Poncho Pete did it on his Hangout. And I thought, well, let's do some other guys that I know from my childhood. Like I always forget his name. He played the
Robin
Mork. Sorry.
Robin Williams.
Yeah, Robin
Robin
Williams. Mork in space. A Milky Way bar in a Tesla car.
That's so funny.
Yeah, Pigs in Space from the Muppet Show in the Tesla car.
Space.
Yeah. Pigs in Space. And Elf, of course, in the Tesla car. Yo, well, this is a NASCAR driver. Also forget his name. But this is a well-known NASCAR driver. So if you want to drive a car the right way, yeah, probably handy to get a NASCAR driver.
They
Next
should put
time.
Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye the Lion guy.
Yeah, that would be good. Actually, I saw one that they put Neil deGrasse Tyson and then make the Earth behind him in a pear shape. And Mr. T, of course. I pity the fool who thinks the Earth is a globe.
What are you talking about plane? I ain't getting on a plane.
I want to drive a car into space. Fool. And this is Evil Knievel. Probably the younger people don't know who he is. He was basically a motorcycle daredevil and did very dangerous jumps through fire hoops and from one high plateau to another high plateau. And Elvis Presley, oh, he's still alive. He's just in space. Who knows? Actually,
That's a good one, that one, artist.
Yeah, this one worked out really nice because it almost looks real. It has to be fake because it looks so real. And Hulk Hogan. He's pointing the right way. You know that all Hulkamaniacs know that the Earth's flat, man, brother. So, Hulk Hogan. And I did one of Yudit. Yudit in space. So if you were wondering where she's up to, she's sometimes in space.
Yeah, she's gone to space.
Can't see her.
Love
Legs
you.
gone.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And that was it. That was those people in the Tesla car in space. Maybe I'm gonna do a couple more. Yeah, because that car is still in space at the moment. So I don't know where it's going. Maybe
Mars.
yeah.
But the Earth looks the same behind it. It's like it hasn't sort of moved along any.
No.
It's just
No, in the distance, almost appears the same. So yeah, all along when they want to go to the moon, they just had to have a big slingshot and a car and a pew, and then it was done. So they don't need rockets probably, only a car and a very good slingshot.
It's all stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Let alone the car would have melted or something by now for sure. It'd have
Yeah.
been sizzling up there.
Yeah, or those tires would explode, or yeah.
Yeah, and why did they only put minimum amount of cameras on it? I mean, for God's sake, you could advertise the whole world. You could advertise so much, just take the picture, 360 camera. So this is what you could see from up here. No,
Yeah.
they don't do that, do they? Two bloody cameras, one pointed at the stupid dummy, and the other one looking at his profile of the dummy.
It's probably not really pointing at him. It's always making sure the globe is seen well enough in the background.
Also, Horace, she did a couple of those great things in that car. That basically, when he came on the hangout, sitting in that car, I really thought that was really funny. It was a really great thing that he thought of. Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny.
Yeah, it's really funny. But
You weren't
actually,
expecting
indeed, no, we didn't expect that. He was telling us, yeah, come with a certain kind of costume, but we didn't expect that. Yeah, that was really funny. But a lot of people make jokes about it because it's so
Well, it's
ridiculous.
easy to joke about. They're leading with their chin.
Yeah, yeah, indeed.
And when they come out and say, "Well, it looks so fake, it has to be real," you implanted the word "fake" into people's mind. If he is not a very good liar, because he kind of got forced into this situation, probably when he started hitting variables that NASA had to tap him on the shoulder and said, "Hey, it's flat, but if you tell anybody, we'll have to diesel you, or Clinton side you, whichever way you want to look at it, you got to play ball." He says, "Okay, how do I play ball?" And you got to go up there and lie a little bit, But in his mind, if
got
it
him a lot of
was
attention,
real,
didn't it?
if it was real, then the word "fake" would have never come to his mind. The fact that he said that just said he was trying so hard. How can I cover this up? Oh, I'll just say this, because he
When you
said
think about it,
thinking instead of what he should have been thinking.
Yeah.
it's just too ridiculous, isn't it?
Just like the guy at the shooting in Las Vegas when he said, he just out of nowhere said, "Well, he wouldn't have used the security elevators unattended." What did he use the security elevators? Did I say security elevator? Oh, dang it!
Hey, there's something about that as well. That maybe I shouldn't talk about it on here.
Yeah, because they striked Big Dread, didn't they?
Yeah, people are getting banned and stuff.
The Florida one is falling apart faster than they can glue it back together.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see that. Now that they have 2 or 3 students saying that, "No way, I saw him coming out the exit with us, and the shooting was coming from the other side of the school. There must have been a second shooter."
Behind the grassy knoll.
I heard
Probably.
a student saying there was 3.
Hey, Angel, probably behind the grassy knoll. The second
Yeah,
shooter.
it was behind the grassy knoll and on top of the Daltex building.
Hey, Angel, did you get that video I sent you earlier on?
Today or in the week?
Today, it was about 9/11.
I might have missed that one.
It's a bit strange, really, because it had Aaron Dover on it, and Aaron Dover, didn't he go missing about a year ago? And then he's talking about the fact that he reckoned Dr. Judy Woods was planted there and she's an agent because she had to talk about the missing floors.
I think
And basically, it was an antenna. It was an antenna making electricity for a part of New York, and it never had any flaws in it, in a part of it. Or they were empty.
Well, I don't know about it never having any flaws. I mean, I can't speak to that, but I do think the structures were an antenna themselves. I don't doubt that. But I think Judy Woods was there to try to give a rationale to an anomaly when I think the truth is they used dirty nukes, and the evidence she points out aren't really they are a directed energy weapon, because when a nuclear weapon goes off, it radiates nuclear energy in all directions. So it was directed out from the source of the explosion. I don't believe it was a directed energy weapon from altitude, but I would love to be proven wrong. But I think we just used a small, dirty nuke. They didn't try to make it efficient because they wanted it to be quiet. I think they were using like a neutron type radiation as opposed to, how we use alpha and beta, which are normally what decay from nuclear weapons. Um, but either way, which gave in effect the Hutchington type effects and the Hutchington type scars, because when a nuclear weapon goes off, it radiates many frequencies like a bomb. It's
Nukes
just
are real
like the
then,
sun.
Angel.
It's just radiating energy.
In flat Earth, most people now don't think nuclear weapons are real either.
Well, I do not want to. Well, I would love to actually talk to somebody about that, because what I believe is that how we perceive the atom, how we describe the atom, is that we are basically throwing coins at a waterfall. A waterfall is the radio energies and the magnetic forces within the atom, and we get responses back. Where did that coin, how did it flip back out of the waterfall? And then we guess what we hit, which is why when they say when you test where an electron is, you destroy it, and now it's not there anymore. And that's because just like if somebody blows a bubble, as soon as you touch the edge of the bubble to find out where the bubble is, that bubble, that field breaks, and poof, it's no longer there. By testing it, you break it. And I think we're playing with fields of magnetic energy, and how we are describing the effects are the model that we use. But the model is fairly accurate to what the elements are made of. I just don't think
Well, they used
that
that hurricane for something, didn't they? Because they never even told
what
anybody coming. If that had gone inland, it would have destroyed New York.
but it wouldn't have, and also people would have to have described why it was happening, and that was evidence that the structure was grounding to earth. The fact that it was sucking the hurricane towards it. It was, if you look at it in Einstein's theory type thing of gravity, that the trade centers were just pulling the time space down, and the hurricane was being sucked down kind of like a black hole towards it, but as an energy field, it was pulling the energy, and the hurricane was being pulled in with that whole suction at altitude, that, because it was sticking up there at altitude. But either way, that is speculation. I can't prove that the evidence, I think, speaks for itself. But
I don't think that they needed the kinetic energy from that thing then.
Well, they may have utilized it. Why let anything go to waste? Why really let anything go to waste? It itself, radiating enough energy through it, could have itself softened the steel. I mean, that's how we heat some metals, is you throw electricity through it. That's how the light bulb works.
They could have got HARP involved, creating this thing in the water.
I'm
And then
100% sure HARP can be focused that fine point. I could, again, like to be proven wrong, but I think HARP is a little bit more dispersed. I don't think it can kind of pinpoint like a laser. I think you can kind of hit like a city or an area to make an area warm, or kind of drag. In fact, the way I understand that we drag hurricanes now is we're using the neutron type thing. That I don't know how you feel about it, but when we can take pieces of aluminum foil and lay them next to each other and make a coronasphere and kind of shoot photons and actually have them hit a wall, and a TV set works by throwing electrons at a screen and shorting it to it, and poof, there's an explosion and it makes light, and we can focus that to make it color. I mean, we've gotten very good at controlling these electrons and manipulating them. So to say that nuclear and atoms and stuff don't exist, I mean, it's kind of, I have to have some basis to start from to work on a model. And when somebody says that nuclear bombs don't exist, or nuclear radiation doesn't occur, or nuclear decay doesn't happen, I mean, how do they say that nuclear bombs don't work when we kind of have evidence of all of the reactions involved? You know what I'm saying? I that's like saying if somebody says dynamite doesn't exist. Well, if I can shove this little carrot into that wall and 20 seconds later that wall collapses, I think it exists. And when they have something, I've seen the explosions that we did with putting piles and piles and piles of TNT to make a megaton blast, megaton of TNT, and then base that as the litmus test comparison for the bombs that we use today, which are physically smaller and put out comparison to that explosion amounts of energy.
Well, they've been putting chemtrails and things like that in the sky for the last 50 years, so goodness knows what they've got and they can do. Maybe they haven't got as much as they frightened us into, but I don't know.
Well, if they don't have nuclear weapons, we do have massive weapons that are quite powerful and explosive, and we have gotten them down to smaller than the size of semi trucks for an explosion that would take out several, like a city, like a major city, like flatten it. So I do think some of these things do exist with quite power that they have some sort of an energy source. They've gotten the explosions down to a fine tuning. And also looking at, when you look into the red gray chips of 9/11, you can look at how they have engineered combustion to an art form as well. I mean, I understand what thermite does and how it explodes and this is going back to the nuclear model, because when you're looking at how what oxygen gives off to what energy, to what element in the combustion protein, or the combustion factor, we are still looking at atomic models, and that all goes back to, I believe that the atomic model exists. I don't believe that they're looking at it correctly. I don't think it's an electron flying around. I think they're all energy bubbles, an energy field, a magnetic energy field, not an element. But that's an argument I would love to really talk with somebody who I can really argue about it with, because most people, they throw things, and I know that they don't know what they're talking about. So it's usually a waste of my time. But you do have to have a model to work with. Otherwise, you don't have a basis of comparison. And I do believe that the model that we use, the atomic, I will also tell you that the elemental chart we have is just the baby version of it. You can look on Google Images of an elemental chart that kind of looks more like a big box of squares at a diagonal pattern, because even hydrogen itself has 3 elements locked within it. You got hydrogen, deuterium, and tritium, and that's all classified as hydrogen on our current small elemental model scale. And then, other things like oxygen, you got oxygen 16, 18, 17. I mean, right within it, there's like 8 different oxygens you can have. And that goes back to vibrational energy. And this all goes to like chi-ness and grounding with earth. And I mean, there's a whole lot of it that even when we teach our kids, we're not really teaching them. We're giving them the glazed over easy version. And I understand that. It's something to work with, that hydrogen and oxygen burn together to make water. Yay. But there are different types of hydrogen and there are different types of oxygen. And when they burn together, they're at different elemental weights. And then buoyancy and density all come into play. And I think that these are things that people don't understand. They think water is water. And I think water is not all water is the same. There's vibrational energy when it goes into water. Some water can be bad. You put it into a microwave and that water is just chaotic. And when it gets into your body, it is just helping to cause chaos, where water that runs down through like a rock filter and picks up some minerals, and when you're drinking it, it actually has some minerals and stuff in it, and it's more in I'm going to say chi tuned, grounded with earth, that it's better for you. Even if it's only 1%, I don't care. Give me that 1%. I want to live 1% longer than the guy next to me. It's just getting that much further away from not knowing what you're eating and not understanding how you are and who you are and how you live and what it takes to keep your body working. I don't know. I can't. That's kind of what I got to say. I don't want to argue with somebody about elements and I would like to say that nuclear power, I think in some way does work, and I think alchemy kind of is real. I've at the basis of alchemy is that you are able to change things from one element to another element, and there is evidence of that happening even in real life. So we can kind of duplicate it we can duplicate it in a chemistry set. So it does happen. It takes more energy than the benefit. But if that energy can be found to be free, or if you can utilize nature's energy and have it just put it in a position where it does it for you, I don't want to move that rock, but if I take the hose and make it the water run underneath it and chew all the water dirt away from it, in a day it's going to roll down the hill all by itself. Let nature work for you. And there are ways to do that, to put things in a state where it's in its best interest to change to what you want it to change to. But
Can I
yeah,
say
go
that?
for it.
Yeah.
I think, well, you're right there, what you're saying about, water. I mean, it's magical. We know, frozen or as a liquid or as a gas, it's unique. It's like, it's magical. It really is.
It's also a crystal. I love to point that out to people. Water is a crystal.
Yeah, snowflake.
Made that crystal clear, Angel.
You can make it dance. You can put put a speaker underneath it, make it dance. You can run electricity through it, make it do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
You can put a sound next to it and have it when it comes out of a water spigot, have it like do curly cues in the air. I mean, there are lots of things that water does that we aren't taught. And I think that's so that we can't utilize it. We can't get that free energy device like Victor Schauberger made. That I think whenever water runs, it generates a field around it.
Yeah.
If you can make water go in the opposite direction of that field, then it's working against itself and amplifying that field. And then if you could tap that difference in one side of the field to the other side of the field, that's electricity. Because what we look at in the electron models, the electrons want to balance themselves because nature abhors a vacuum and wants to go back to equilibrium. Like when you touch the doorknob on a dry day, you get the shock. It wants to go back to equilibrium. And if you can deviate the equilibrium, like the way a Lord Kelvin drip generator works, then you work with the deviation between those two states, and that is electricity, for the lack of any other word. Not a lot of it, but like I've said, up until just recently, we haven't ever been able to utilize micro amounts of electricity. We've always focused on the macro. Hey, I need to be able to make that fan spin, make that motor turn.
Hey, sorry, Angel, to interrupt.
Go.
This is just before I forget, because I'm very forgetful at the moment. Kelvin, what's the freezing absolute Kelvin temperature? Do you know it offhand?
Well, negative 273 is
right. Yeah. Negative 273. That's what I was thinking. I just wanted to confirm it.
Yes.
Well, what's unique about 273? there's just too many coincidences with 273. It's everywhere.
Oh,
That
just
number
like
is.
in those stairs on those ancient structures.
It's
It
a
equals 12.
Yeah.
It's a constant number, 273.
Isn't it one of the orbits of one of the
The moon, in 273 days, a woman is pregnant on average.
right?
27.3 sidereal orbits of a moon, or is it? Maybe I'm wrong there. Don't quote me. Forgive me. But the number just seems to pop up regularly, and I think the more you delve into things like that, the more it pops up. You know, the more you scratch your head. But if anyone in the chat knows anything about that, that would be fantastic. 273. And I know it's something to do with the frequency as well.
Right. Kelvin isn't on my mental list of whether or not he was a Mason. So I'd be wondering about that. In fact, I should probably Google it. But if so, then yes, I think they would have shoved the 273 in there since he made the chart. Although the chart goes from, it works off of the boiling point and freezing point of water. So 273 would just have to be something that it fell upon. I don't think you could alter that, because the 0 to 100 is based on the point where water
Celsius
melts,
scale,
to
yeah.
the point where water boils.
One is based on Celsius scale and one is based on Kelvin. And obviously, Kelvin scale, his freezing point was at 273.
Well, what
minus.
he did is he took the Celsius scale, and then he said, okay, but we can go below that. Instead of using negative numbers, let's get find
What?
absolute
So
zero
I
and
thought
make
Kelvin did
absolute
it
zero
first.
zero. Now Kelvin was second. He made absolute zero be zero, and then wherever it fell is where it fell, because he couldn't manipulate absolute zero. Although we have to trust him, because I don't have a way to prove absolute zero in my current level of tech.
There's a bit of a silence there. Jay, what do you think about? Do you think nuclear bombs exist?
I think the technology does, but I actually wanted to chime in about the 7, 3, and 2 because it adds up to 12. And I know that Freemasons like to have 12 apostles like Jesus did. We have 12 cell salts and 12 body functions and 12 zodiac signs. So I don't know if that gives it another way of seeing it, but of course it would add up to a number that's astrological and balanced. I want to speak about alchemy, though, because that was a good thing he was talking about. Because Moses has a bronze staff in the Bible. Okay, to make bronze, you need copper, which is Venus ruled, and tin, which is Jupiter ruled. Saturn is lead. Why? The sun is gold. So that bronze staff that Moses has is alchemy. It's a symbol of energies coming together to create a result or something unique. And Jupiter gave birth, apparently, to Venus, or she came out of the head, or so forth, so forth. We also have iron.
Female also, Jay, sorry.
They're good. Yeah, exactly.
Those two metals, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. You also have iron in your body. You need iron. Iron is very diverse. I'm a black body. I need iron. You're a white body. You need iron. Whatever color you are, Mars, it's iron. That's diversity. So what's alchemy physically? In my opinion, it would be interracial dating, for sure. Different races coming together. I'm interracial. I'm every race in one. I'm Irish, Portuguese, Cape Verdean. Verde is green for emerald, of course. Venus. So there's a lot of things I think that alchemy can be a symbol of with metals, with humans. Because you think about sexual energy. You know what Congress means? Congress is sexual union, or commerce. It actually means a sexual energy. Things coming together to equal something, which is what happens with all kinds of structures today. They take science and they put it against us. So to chime in with what Angel's saying in terms of like people not being aware of the elements are actually a part of our 24-hour process. So if I don't know what earth, water, air, fire at all, or ether is at all, I'm going to be completely in the hands of some other person easily, and I'll go somewhere else. If I don't know that ether is also Isu, another version of Jesus, Esau, it's all there. When you look it up in Oxford Dictionary, there's all these different diverse names. Now, when we get into nuclear energy, nuclear bombs, atomic bombs, everybody wants to get into the cells. They want to put you in a cell, the nucleus. They want to be center stage. The spotlight is the shape of a cell. This idea of everything dealing with our circular bodies. Yeah, I believe nuclear weapons. I believe that the technology is there. I mean, in terms of them getting it together and wiping us all out with it, that's impossible in my opinion, because we've survived every cataclysm, okay? We've survived all the major cataclysms. Why are the Popol Vuh calling petroleum naphtha, and it fell from the sky? That's gasoline. So where did our gas stations come from? The cataclysm, something rained fire on us, and it burned shit, it destroyed it. And then now we have scientists, order through chaos, I wonder where they came from, creating chaos. I've watched so many chemtrails today, X on X on X. They're making XXX, like 666, using the six, the sexual pattern. That's nuclear, and they know that stuff. But that kind of deviates from your question. But yeah, I just wanted to sort of dance and I had many thoughts. I'll leave it open.
Okay, Astral, what about you then?
What about me?
Do you think like nuclear bombs exist, or?
Oh, I really don't know now. I mean, there's so much going on, and it's like, what do we believe, you know? I mean, really, just of late, there's been so much shit going on. It's like I'm questioning so much right now.
That's about right.
Oh, yeah, I don't want to go deep into it or anything because it's deep, but there's just a lot going on at the moment in this plane of ours, you know, on this plane of ours. Hopefully it's going to get better.
What are your thoughts on this recent shooting in America, the school shooting? Panel.
Oh, it's faker than a $5 bill or a $3 bill.
Yeah, I mean, it's there's just too much shit going on there. Too much BS, man. Too much.
It's ridiculous. And I watched a video of some girl talking about what she saw, and she sounded rehearsed, and she was talking like, yeah, you know, and I was like talking to him before it happened, and I'm like, if people died,
yeah,
I don't know.
The name of the school, right, is also coincidentally the name of it's named after a woman of the town who was honored in some sort of way. She wrote a book called Drain the Swamp. Is it called Drain the Swamp? Or it refers in some way to the swamp being drained because she wanted to, or she was against it or something, if I'm right. There's too many coincidences, you know. Also, the name of the hospital where JFK was taken after he was shot was the name of the school. You know, it was like a lot of coincidences here. It's a big conspiracy, a big.
When you said JFK, oh sorry, go ahead, man.
Yeah, but I mean there's just so much going on, and it's a lot to do with that. But it's almost as if the press are not even touching it, and if they are touching it, they're touching it in a wrong way, you know. So
Well,
yeah,
it's part of the gun agenda. I think the way everything came out, things were known too conveniently, and incorrect things that didn't fit the narrative, like the issue that I've seen. There's a Mexican looking girl, there's a blonde girl, there's another kid that they've all talked how they were interacting with this shooter. And when the stuff happened, when the interaction happened, he was still within shot during and even right after, to the fact that the shots were from a different location. And that's the consistent story.
Yeah, like this
The
multiple
inconsistent
shoots.
story is everything the news is telling us.
It's terrible, you know, that there's shit going on and a big cover up, and
I feel sorry for him.
cover-up. Yeah, me too.
The kid lost his father, like, I guess 2 or 3 years ago. He lost his mother just 3 months ago to the flu. I suspect that she had just gotten a flu shot just before she died from the flu, but I'd like to be proven wrong on that one also. But and then this kid's alone, and he's on half a dozen drugs, and he's the type of kid who's like, I've interacted with people of that nature where it's like you're talking to a goldfish.
Yeah, you know, and then there's talk. I mean, don't get into this, but you know, talk of this MK Ultra, and could it be, you know, something like that?
Well,
he heard voices in his head, you know,
right.
all of a sudden, and you know, when you start looking into things like that, I mean, and it is apparent that they have been using it. They've been using it for such a long time. There's
When you
evidence
know
online, there's documents online. They've got
when you know how to do something,
patents.
know how to verbally, linguistically mess somebody up, when you know how to torture them in the right way to get them to comply to what you want, you have the textbook examples and you have case studies, and you know that 80% of the people will do this. Okay, well, let's try this. Oh, he's one of those 20% that didn't react that way. Well, let's do this. There we go. We got it. You know, this horse, when you smack him, he doesn't like that. He just ignores you. So you got to go this way instead. All right. Well, you know, but it's stuff happens, and they don't forget this. They're not going to ignore it. They're going to spin it off to a private company. In fact, much of MK Ultra they were playing with on private sector with the whole Jamestown thing. Was an MK Ultra kind of spin-off. You know, somebody went rogue with some funding, ill-gotten goods, maybe in the black budget area that, you know, he was just spending down there in South America, and they didn't really know where the money and the planes were going. But, you know, that's another story for another day. But it's just amazing what they don't stop. And they take the technology, they put it into our TVs, the flicker rate, the ad. You know what? Once you have that knowledge, it's not just forgotten. It's used in other industries. The ads, the way they put stuff in ads and in the images, and it's all done. You know, why do they put a globe in the most movies? Why is it, you know, there? It just, you know, it doesn't have to be there, but it's there.
You know what's interesting about when you talk about mind control and all these experiments they do? When I was in South Carolina, I had this guy drive me in a rental car because my car had crashed, and he was in the military. And I mentioned to him this movie called Men Who Stare at Goats, and how this thing with the goats in the military. Yeah. And so the guy actually told me that he actually in the military experienced this, that they're doing experiments with soldiers where they're wiring shit to their brain and then a goat's brain. And they're doing these tests with goats, hence your Baphomet, your inverted pentagram heads of a goat, these themes of Capricornians, Saturnians. There's something about the coronal plane, which is the Saturnial plane that we're on, that is very much, mental. Well, I mean, Shiva rules the crown chakra. There you go, Saturn. So there's something about animals in astrology for sure, because I talked about it in a private session with the panel about how the cow is Taurus. Any bird would be a Cygnus constellation, which means a swan, Corvus, raven, blah, 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 blah. So every animal is a reflection of our bodies, right? So what I keep hearing these forms of torture, when they torture animals too, right? Like they're always zapping them. You know, they zap, zap, zap. In the Illuminati torture, I've watched some documentaries about what they do in Illuminati families for mind control, and you'd be amazed. You should check out the work of Fritz Springmeier. He has this awesome research. I mean, hundreds of pages about the Illuminati and mind control trauma and what it does and what they do and how, I'll give you an example of how intricate it is. They start torturing the baby in pregnancy, okay? They start zapping it, touching it, and doing things to it, right? Then it comes out, this is crazy shit. It comes out and they nurture it for the first, I don't know, few months. They give it love. Then all of a sudden, they turn cold and abuse it and bash it and kill things in front of it. They zap the brain with rods and these animal probes they use. They zap it. They zap the brain. They've apparently found a way to zap it so often that they can decompartmentalize and make computers, I'm not kidding, and files out of your brain so that they can push buttons and do signals, and you go into assassin mode, sex kitten mode, blackout mode. You forgot what you would, I mean, it's incredible. So when go ahead,
great
sorry.
to have off the book subjects to play with that you don't have to account to, and no morals.
Yeah, it's true.
Don't want to get banned though, do we?
And when you said MK Ultra, I'm thinking of Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat. When you play that video game, MK, boom. Look at how graphic and bloody that is, right? I'm snatching someone's skeleton out. I mean, ripping a woman apart, her breasts, blood flying everywhere. This is creating aggressive behavior. That's a Darwin brain.
I think it's called Monarch now.
They're creating this. Sorry?
I think it's called Monarch now.
MK Monarch?
Yeah.
MK Monarch? Yeah, the butterfly.
Monarch. Yeah, the butterfly. But I don't know if it's
Monarch.
called MK.
Yeah, you're right.
Monarch.
Yeah.
Or Orion. Yeah.
Well, it grew and graduated. Just because they closed down that department doesn't mean they don't open another one.
No.
They don't
Exactly,
forget
Angel.
the information.
You can find the stuff online. You can find it online. Just go looking, man. Find it online.
I like your beard there, Astral.
Coming on.
Comets or coma. Coma is Greek for hair. And why they have beards is from my research for Venus. All the wise ones have beards because when they saw her as the fiery energy she had a tail. And so the tail that or any beard you grow, it's a symbol of that fiery tail of Venus. It's pretty cool stuff, man. Like all these things that we grow and we do, they're a metaphor of something. And we don't even realize it, how cool it is. Like just that act alone.
It's laziness.
Well, it's laziness and genius at the same time.
Cheers.
Without having to work at it.
No, what's your take on all this, Jay? This over in Florida and
the shootings, rituals. Yeah, I'll be honest. We're in February now. We're almost in March. March is Mars, Aries, war. It's timely. It's always going to happen. I'm always expecting it. I hate to say that. It's sad and it frustrates me because I know at certain points in the year, depending on the season, I know exactly how it's going to smell. But what's frustrating now is back in the day, they did a little better of a job at acting and making it seem real. The people today that they're getting to talk after the event, they seem no emotion. It's like, it's obvious. They speak like nothing has happened in their body. I know what trauma sounds like because I've experienced death and I've lost people. I'm sure you all have. You know what that's like to talk with that lump and that just there's a thing that happens and they're all just talking like, ha, 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 ha. So it's very interesting. It's a theater and it's important for me as a performer, as an artist. It's insulting that they would take theater and that they would use it to hurt people and confuse people with it over and over again, which I can't stress enough, that when you look at your prayers of our Father who art in heaven, this is called art, people, okay? It is an art to corrupt things. It's an art to take things sometimes. A cat thief, doom, very sneaky. So it's an art to mind control. It's an art to get people in a certain vibration of fear, right? So if I'm afraid, right, of going outside, or going to school, or talking to my friend, now there's another control. There's another idea of me put in bondage. So then I go to the church. Once again, I'm told if I do this, I'm bad. So now I'm bonded there. I go to school. If I get a bad grade, I'm a bad person. Oh my God. If I don't fit into the cool people, I'm ugly. I suck. Oh my God. Now someone's going to blow my brains out because I came to school, or someone's going blah, blah. It's like these patterns. They keep slicing the onion of our confidence, of our just the everyday thing, like going to school, man. It's basic life. And these things show me how precious and important life is and our time on it. And as a teacher myself, going into a school where I see the depression, I don't see any children in there. I don't see anyone in there that's wanting to kill anybody necessarily. And I'm looking for people who might feel edgy. But we see depression as an all-time high. So of course, I'm also offended by the killer had a mind. The killer was depressed. The killer had issues. The killer was beaten. The killer was molested. Blah, 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 blah. And they take trauma that a lot of people struggle with and they just play with it. They just use it like, oh, he killed because his mom was an alcoholic. Yeah, that's it. So anyone now who's abused by that, oh shit, I might kill somebody now. You see what I mean? It's insane.
Another thing, what happens, Jay, is because of this, then they get these people on TV saying, oh, well, now you get all these, anti-gun lobbyists and what have you, these people are, trying to take away the Second Amendment for you. And that would be such a bad thing. It would be such a bad thing, and that's, I think, what they're aiming for. To make everyone live like, oh, fuck, it's getting out of hand now, okay. Yeah, well, let's have an amnesty. Let's all hand in our weapons and then it'll all be cool and hunky-dory or whatever. No, it won't. That's what
no more defense.
I'm sure. And then it's, you're seeing it's becoming, the police are getting all these, what they call MRAP vehicles, these like military jeeps. I mean, this is the police. To protect and serve, not to fucking, threaten us with these big trucks coming down with like 8 men hanging off them, like, oh, look at us, hey, get out of the way, boy, kind of thing.
You have to listen to the name police, okay? So this is going to help you understand. You are not thinking of the police in terms of the law. It means the Greek city, polis. These are not police officers, just men in blue. It's an ancient movement,
but
and they're still doing their movement.
Yeah, they're turning it into a military state, slowly but surely.
Of course.
I mean,
yes, the Titans, the Trojans, man. The Spartans.
The way they dress, helmets, shields. Where's my sword? It is.
Brother, you're right.
I'm laughing now, but this is the way it's going, and.
Yep.
Tick, 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 over the cliff. What? It's scary.
Yeah.
And it's not just in America. I mean, I can see it here too. I can see it in other countries, There's these things that happen. Everyone's screaming, oh, we need more police, we need more police. Well, we haven't got enough police. Okay, well, we can start using military. They're already lobbying for things like this, in the parliament. I look at a bit of politics and stuff. They want to do things like this. All these areas, high unemployment, the highest unemployment. And why is that? And they show a news bulletin clip with, I don't know, 25, 30 ladies with, headdresses on. All from Somalia, and they can't hardly speak. The woman that they interviewed, she could hardly speak the language. A few words. Of course, out of all those people, why would you get someone to interview that couldn't speak the language? Interview someone who can. It's all propaganda. They try and twist the tales all the time. And it's like, oh, people are believing this. They need to wake up and see it isn't like this. Research things, and they will see themselves.
Yeah. You know, this is an important moment to also, the reason why I dropped the last time I had a phone call, I'm using my hotspot right now. The hotspot of my phone is keeping me online. But when I get a phone call, boom. So who calls me? Raven Wilkinson's brother. Raven Wilkinson is my very good friend, the first African-American ballerina I told you about who survived racism in the Jim Crow era with the KKK visiting her at her dance studio. So her brother calls me and he talks to me because I wanted to get his number to talk to him about what it was like for him and experience in that time, you know, during the Great Depression and all that. I mean, intense. And he listening to him speak, and this is going to relate to what you were talking about and just in general about the spirit. This is to encourage people to hang in there. Because let me tell you, you know, we've been through hell and we always bounce back. It is not fun at all. Do not get me wrong. It is not enjoyable by any means to have to pick up this shit and to rise again. But let me tell you something, it is in our history, okay? Because I had a great phone call with this gentleman who's the brother of a legend who survived adversity. So he's talking to me and he's telling me about how he was drafted to go to the army and he was scared and how, you know, that's serious because back in those days, you know, once they said you had to go and boom, you might die and you can't even think about it because you're told to go. And if you go, you're a real man now and Uncle Sam and blah, blah, blah. A real man dies for his country and comes back and we still don't respect them. Boom, right? So he's a black man, whatever, right? Going there, boom, comes back to America. Racism, Jim Crow, blah, blah, blah. His sister, okay, has the Klan visit, almost kills this woman. She survives. And then he finally, at this age, he's telling me in his 70s, he's telling me that he's actually finally really processed the pain and the power that his sister went through. This is what's interesting to me because he probably didn't have the time as her brother to really process what it was like for her because he was dealing with his shit. You know what I mean? Going off to war, not wanting to fight. He wanted to be an artist. He was a visual artist. But back then you didn't have a choice. Boom, go. Even now they can call you and yank you and shit, right? This is insane. So he does that, comes back, deals with the racism, gets through it, right? And so now I'm hearing him at 70 telling me he's still motivated. He's inspired. He's teaching in Charleston, South Carolina. He teaches lighting. And I had a great conversation with him about the 5 elements. And when I mentioned it, he had an aha moment with me. He said, thank you. And we're building together. And here I am, my first conversation with this man who's the brother of a legend. And already I'm hearing the power of pain, the power of suffering, the power of people constantly wanting to hate you. Can any one of you on this panel imagine, even me, just imagine this. You are in a studio. Don't even worry about it being dancing. You're just in a building. Forget it. You're in a building, right? All of a sudden, these people come that want to kill you and they're looking for you. What would you do? Do you know, this is how crazy the Raven story is, okay? Raven was light-skinned, and so it was hard for her to show her complexion because she would wear white paint as a dancer. They had to do that because of racism. They couldn't show their black skin. So you want to know what saved Raven's life? Makeup. Whoa. Let me say it again. The Klan walked right by this black ballerina's body. You understand? That's the spirit. It's not just the makeup. Something. So I'm just encouraging us, right? Her story, she's just now getting recognized. No one knows who she is. She's the mentor for the first African-American ballerina, this big star at American Ballet Theater in New York, Misty Copeland. Positive, great. I've met her, cool, whatever. But she's just now at 80 somewhat years old, getting some recognition. So what I'm saying is, these things are important to know because Raven is us, right? We are all connected. Her story is our story, right? We've all gone through horrible things and we're going to go through more horrible things because for some reason, there seems to be a pattern of people that want to take from something that's very powerful, which is the human race. Why are we going through chaos? Someone is jealous of our abilities. Someone does not like us living or breathing, giving air. Ave Maria. Aria means air. They don't like us to breathe, hence chemtrails all day, for God's sake, right? So there has to be something about my spirit, which means breath in Latin. There has to be something that can break through this. And Raven is one of those stories. My mom protected me and made sure that I danced in the Nutcracker regardless of my race. That's the spirit. one female up against a very powerful corporation known as Boston Ballet. Think about that. Those are Freemasons that run those companies, and it's all blood money. Okay. My mom did that. Wow. Okay, whatever. So we move on. So today, shootings, chaos, right? Bad science. We're living on a ball. We're bouncing around. So what do? We have to get grounded in other people's stories to be inspired by them. I think it's important to know that there are other people that are symbols of hope for us, and that I will always be the mouthpiece of hope and not my ego. I want to say something that will help someone else, so we can get out of this mess, right? Why am I teaching dance? To be awesome? No, it's to teach. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
I think a minute ago you just said living on a ball bouncing around. We're not hopefully living on a ball bouncing around. I hope you were just making a joke there, or it was a mistake.
No. I'm saying that they're telling us that we're living on a ball bouncing around. That's what I said. Yes, okay. I said bad science.
Right, I'm with you. Sorry.
Bad science is no, you're good. That's cool. What I'm saying is bad science is saying that we're spinning around, bouncing on a ball, so that you cannot be grounded, so that you don't have time to breathe. You understand? It's all about breath. Fear breaks your understanding of breathing calmly. When everyone breathes in the same fashion, it's a symphony. Let me say it again, very loud, for the entire world needs to know this. The chat room, you need to know this again. You're very important. Your body is an organ. What's the conductor doing to the symphony? He is directing the tempo. Tempo, who holds the beat? Saturn. Shiva is Saturn with the drum. We live on a coronal plane, y'all. Kronos is Saturn. It's simple. So these things about fear, they break up the body. They give us GMOs. They give us cancers and these things we can't pronounce. So we can't make music together. That's it. We're not connected. We don't breathe together. You know, even when we're doing the truth movement thing, right? Are all of us breathing together so that all the people in the truth movement can be aligned to make a real difference, as opposed to hurting people's feelings still and having little ego battles or debunking people again, or passionate debates where we're yelling and that never works with us. We know it doesn't work. It's not worked for thousands of years. Why? Because when you get like, that's Rome, and Rome, we know what Rome does. They blow things up. You're going to blow up. Self-destruction, always. It's an option, but it will hurt you every time. We can go good or bad, or we can be balanced. So we need a very good balanced mental vitamin called breathing. I mean, I cannot stress it enough. Chat room, know that you are an instrument. Know that you are a symphony, and that you're not just a body walking around. You can make a difference just from inhaling. Hence they say hail, right? Inhale, and then you exhale. You're hailing again, people. Hail. You're going up to the high place. Even when you breathe in and out, you're still going up. Which is the issue here. They don't want us to grow up. We get arthritis when we get old, right? What happens to your body? Your spine does what? Like this. Now, why do you think that's happening? Maybe you're eating too much starch. It's a fact. Starch too much, bends your bones. What shape would that be? The sickle of Saturn. Seriously, you cannot get it twisted. It's a fact. Ritualistic energies. Fear does, depression does that. It puts toxins in your cells and makes you literally sick. Fear makes you sick, right? Sucking energies. I think, Angel, looks like you wanted to say something, man. Sorry if I'm...
No, I was breathing when you were saying breathing. I didn't.
Yeah, someone can cut me off if they want to. I'm not trying to hog the mic, but yeah, I just wanted to really express how important it is that we realize that we have a lot of power. Like I really can't stress to everyone how much power you have. Okay, you have to know that the Delta, it's an airline, Delta. You have a deltoid bone. They have a Dell computer. They have an Adele singer, Adele. That's you, right? So the problem is in our corporate structure, they're very well versed with etymology and they know your symbols and they take your symbols and they make names like Bruno Mars. Nothing against him. I don't know the dude. But I know that that name is God of War and that Brune is brown, the color of shit. Pardon my language, doo-doo. Pardon me. Pardon me. Now, I'm not saying that's an evil thing, but brown is a color. If I'm an alchemist, if I'm a sorcerer, like the Virgin Queen Elizabeth had Sir John Dee as her sorcerer, research Sir John Dee. This man actually talked to other entities. Yeah. Something's going on there. What does that mean? Who is he talking to? What is he channeling? And why is he using 007 to do it? Then they give you James Bond, bondage, the mistress. He starts off in a circle. Circe, he's in the womb of the goddess. Once again, they got you. You go into the church. It's a temple. It's the body of Circe. It means church. You're in the organs again. You're back out. In and out, sucking, inhaling. They're using the energies of your breathing against you. They're making it strainful, right? So, you know what Saturn also rules, or Nimrod? Laborious, hard work. Let me say it again. The Babylonian god known as Nimrod, you must know this name, it's also known to be Saturn, is known for laborious, hard work. Nimrod ruled the day. Now you look at today, how many people like their work? Come on, right? Most people hate what they do, right? They hate it because they're doing it for money. And I get that, right? Laborious. Why? Is that a coincidence? It's a coincidence. It's not a coincidence. They understand that we're walking on planes. Now, if I'm on a ball, if I'm bouncing now, right? If I'm living on a ball bouncing around now, where's my sagittal plane? Where's my coronal plane now? How am I able to be grounded if you've put me on a ball and I'm spinning now? So now where are my planes? Where's my axis? Doesn't make sense. This is insanity. How can this happen when my body is aligned in a certain way where I have forces holding me, keeping me, and flowing with me? Now you're taking my ball and you're shaking me around. It's like those Christmas balls. You shake it and the snowflakes fall. This earth is a brain. Yeah, and we're all connected to it. We all have our organs in it. And if we're not in sync, it's hard to make a real change. Why in French we have a ballet term called changement. Listen to the French people. I'm going to say it again. Changement. Mente is Latin for the mind. To change your mind. So when I'm doing the changement step in ballet, which changes the legs, I'm changing my mind. What is that about? Why? Why do dancers do a changement? Because life is always changing, evolving.
Yeah.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. Go ahead, man.
You know what I saw? This is I made that picture myself a while back. You see it?
Yes.
It's a barbershop. Pay close attention what it says. How is that barbershop called? It's actually a very popular barbershop now. It's a chain of shops.
Of course it is.
Brainwash. Your barber.
Can I show you some logos too? I actually had some. Because I wanted to show you these, Artez. I think you'd appreciate these. So I'm going to show you the
also some old advertise. Can you show advertisement or not? I'm asking. No, eh? Oh, not pictures, eh? Probably. No, that's.
I don't know. Just don't. We're just very conscious on don't want a strike
and
again.
This one I made myself, so that's probably okay. But
I'm
advertisement.
not allowed to share like a logo. I can't share logos.
No, then you get a strike. Probably.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a lot of them also. I'm only showing you this one because it was a photograph I made, and probably that's okay. But otherwise, yeah, you get a lot. They are very into striking people for small reasons. They only have to have this small reason, and they give you a strike for anything that is related to advertisement or whatever. Yeah, that's a problem.
You know, when they put women's hair, I used to always watch this machine that my mom would have to sit in for her hair to dry, and it's a dome, a chair with a dome.
Yeah.
Right? Now, what does the electric chair look like? When they remember those, they put the shit in your head and you sit down in it. Part of my language. You sit down, they put the thing in your head. It's the same concept, right? I just now realized that it's the same concept, and so
Well, it's
that's
the same.
theater.
Well, it's a bit,
Yeah.
but that's everything, eh? I think it was for. Let's check the things for Sprite. Their slogan was "Obey your thirst." For
Yep.
Crystal Clear, that drink was "Woman in Control." That was their slogan.
I wanted to speak about crystals as well.
For Burger King, there was
Mhm.
even a sandwich that had a woman with her mouth open and a very long sandwich. You get the drift probably. And it says it will blow your mind away. You have also other things. Let's see. Pepsi was "Refresh Your World," their slogan a while back. For X deodorant, it was "New X Adrenaline," the new kind of adrenaline for your body. For Budweiser, the beer, it was "Cool Your Pipes." And for Pepsi was "Love Your Every Sip." So yeah, some slogans. I can't show the pictures, but oh yeah, Continental Tires. It was "The Future in Motion."
Ah,
And Dolce & Gabbana, that fragrance was "The Scented of a Salamander." And for Sisley clothing, it was "The Fashion Junkie." And I don't show the pictures, but if you see the pictures, it will make it even more sense. But just the slogans they put out there are already suspicious.
yeah.
Oh yeah, and for Coca-Cola, it was "Open Happiness." Don't forget that.
Open happiness. Yeah.
Open happiness.
Yeah. Your Coke is they're drug dealers. They actually put the drug in there back in the day. You know, Sigmund Freud actually prescribed that too at one point. That lovely thing we call Coke. Interesting. Then they realize it's not so good for you, actually.
Yeah.
It's funny. They put stuff in the they put stuff, man, and it's interesting because about crystals, you can see through them. Well, your brain, you have hallowed parts of your brain, hollowed. And it says, "Hallowed be thy name" in the Bible, right? So if I have hollowed parts of my brain, if my brain also reflects like a crystal does, crystals reflect light in a special, unique way and energy. So if I'm getting all these blues and reds and yellows and McDonald's, by the way, I had an aha moment about McDonald's. This is going to blow your minds. This is funny. This is how I saw the symbol. You know the M symbol, right?
Mhm.
The yellow M. This is funny. So I'm driving today, and this man is standing in front of me. Big dude, wearing a yellow shirt, bright yellow, and he's standing like this. And I saw the M. It's a body. It's a body for sure, hanging there, inviting you in to the cult of death. It is the spine with two arms. It has to be. This guy's body was exactly an M. And of course, your body can make geometry. We know this. Very interesting. It's also the logo for Aries, but that's an old connection. But the body today, I was like, wow. And he was a big dude. Nothing against big people, but I could tell he might be the person that would enjoy a big cheeseburger. You know what I mean? So there's something about roundness and obesity that these people who are confusing us like. They like to get bigger and sicker, but like it. Get dumber, go to school and get stressed out, but like it. It's weird, man. It's weird.
It's weird.
So much work to get us afraid of ourselves when the answer is in the yoga breathing. Yoga is not some cool thing to do. Yoga is being turned into a cool thing. Hey, yoga, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and eat the foot of a goat, and then I'm sorry, yeah, I'm gonna kill somebody and I'm gonna do yoga. Yoga is not something you just put on,
No.
right? It's called union. Yeah, you're getting balanced with yourself first. It's hard to do that. Like accepting that I have issues, accepting maybe I might not be balanced, so that before I go into society as a teacher, before I get certified, that I've done my homework. Important. Yoga is that. It's your yoga.
About yoga and health, I have this one I can share.
Please.
It doesn't work. Sorry. Yeah, for sometimes the share button doesn't work for some reason. No. Oh yeah, it does now. Finally. This is what about cigarettes. To make people aware, eh? They even put sugar in your cigarettes.
What?
Yeah. Added sugar makes tobacco smoke easier to inhale and form acetate below which enhances nicotine additive effects. So therefore, you get more addicted to it. A menthol cools and numbs the throat to reduce irritation and makes the smoke feel smoother. So that's why they also do menthol in it. And other things, you can read it probably. You can read it already. Added chemicals expand the lung airways, making it easier for the tobacco smoke to pass through your lungs. So they put all kinds of things so you don't feel much irritation or rejection to the smoke. Like sugar and menthol and other things. They put in.
Wow.
Yeah. And they're putting more and more in things that are related to this to make you more addictive to smoking cigarettes.
When I look at these words, I'm seeing a lot of interesting connections. I'm grateful that you shared this because it actually confirms more about my theory with words and astrology. Like, for example, you have bronchodilators. The broncho is a horse. And we know that Sagittarius is the horseman. So we have a sagittal plane that we're living in. We might want to know about our Sagittarius horsepower. And then you have nitrosamines, tobacco-specific nitro. Well, who is the salmon? Nun in Hebrew means fish. That's the goddess right there. It's very important to see that because that sets forth a vibration to then make you sicker. Very important. They cannot do this to us unless they manipulate astrology. They cannot do it. Trust me. They have to have the words. Look at ventilated. Venus. She's your breath. Hence, knowing what Maria and Aria, when they write an opera, once again, important, because this relates to smoking, because it ruins your breathing. Of course, it puts a hole in your throat. When they make arias in opera, the aria, the healthy breathing, when we sing in unison, that's powerful. That can repel demons.
Yeah,
That's
for
what
sure.
we're
And also ammonia, of course, compounds. Adding ammonia compounds increase the speed in which the nicotine hits the brain. So,
and ammonia is Amun Ra, or
yeah.
Om is in ammonia.
Mm-hmm.
Important word. They have to use the words of God. We're all gods and goddesses, reflections. They have to. People with religion,
Almost,
look at your word.
What at the bottom is lefulinic acid. It almost reads lesserfurian acid.
Well, Levu has Saturn. Okay, you have the word Lu there, Lu. That's the Druid sun god. That was their version of Nimrod or Osiris for Saturn. He's the dark sun, right? So this is what they do too. They, meaning whatever this thing is hurting us. They love to show you the diversity of the gods.
For sure.
So when you get poisoned, like I'm showing you here, they're going to poison you with the diversity of etymology. Very important to know. Etymology is a ritual. The first there was the word, remember?
Now I understand why the smoking ads were basically banned on TV. And now they are putting it all in the music videos.
Yeah.
So they're doing a dance, and then you see all those artists in those video music clips smoking. Yeah, makes sense now.
Of course. See, I read a book called Hidden Persuaders by Vance Packard. Check it out. How did they make cigarette smoking okay back in the 20s? They put a filter in it.
Yeah.
We put a filter. See? It's okay. Now you're getting less cancer. But you smoke a pack a day anyways.
You know, that's somebody actually examined that filter, eh? And it's
Sorry?
very close to what you put behind your as a warmth insulation. How do you call it?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Installation? No, what is it called?
It's
I know
bad
what you
now.
mean.
You can saw in it, otherwise you get dust and you get cancer. The same
Is it
type of
asbestos?
particles. Yeah. In that filter, it has the
Asbestos.
same shape. If you actually examine it under a microscope, it has the same shape as asbestos. So, yeah.
Wow. Or they build homes that have mildew on the ceiling. I was living in North Carolina, and they build these houses that don't hold, and so you've got mold all over your roof, and you're inhaling that stuff, and you don't know why. Well, they didn't care to build your place properly. They just made it because they had a quota. They put holes in the ground for quotas. Oh, we got to make a quota. Put holes in the ground and make traffic for no reason, and the earth is fine. We're going to put another hole in the ground for you. Which I wanted to show you. Oh, something about craters. Yeah, sorry, hold on. Because there was crater destruction talked about earlier. And I found this crater. I'm sure y'all know this. Oh, am I allowed to share this though, Karen? It's a random photo of a crater.
Yeah, yeah, okay.
Is that okay? Karen? No? Yes?
Well, I showed also a
Sorry,
photo
I
of
just muted and couldn't get back on. It wouldn't come back on.
Yeah,
What do you want to do?
a photo of
I
a
wanted to
crater.
take a photo of a crater. Is that okay?
Yeah.
It should be all right. It's just everybody's getting striked and things at the moment. But carry on, yeah.
If it doesn't
you-
have a copyright name on it, it's probably okay.
I don't know if it
Check it.
does.
There is a name on that picture that says copyright. If it doesn't, it's okay most of the time.
Let me see. I don't know where it is now, man. Never mind. Well, I've been sharing a lot of photos on etymology.com and stuff, so I don't. Anyhow, there's a picture of a crater.
I have a picture of
Picture of
a
a-
crater if you want a picture.
Well, yeah, because I wanted to talk
Random
about it
one.
because this crater. Yeah, this crater. There were many craters created, and when one of these stories came out called Kingship in Heaven, when Saturn and Jupiter had a beef, it gave birth to the story of Job, and how Job had his whole family wiped out so that he could see if he still believed in God and all this, right? All faith, you're going to kill everybody. Well, when that thing happened, boom, for sure, these craters are symbols of all those battles, and I just wanted to kind of chime in and see.
I have
craters
one.
and-
This is the Barrington crater in Arizona.
Oh, that was the
Nice one.
crater. That's it.
Okay, cool.
Perfect.
Wow. Okay.
I love
that's
you.
cool.
Yeah, that was the one, man.
All right.
Cool. Yeah. So I think personally that was a possible effect or reaction from the war of the gods, quote unquote, and goddesses, adjusting themselves and shifting and changing their order. They're always doing something up there. And then man comes down here and decides to take the stories and then put us divided. It's weird.
Yeah, no, you know what actually is interesting with the Barrington crater? If I
Yeah.
go a couple of slides back, you see the Barrington crater. You see another picture how big it is. This
Yes.
is roughly the size, 1.2 kilometers, so that's very big. Also,
Wow.
here's the Barrington crater in the top part of my screen. And here is a mountain, a flattened mountain that is pushed out of the ground by a strike. And it's interesting, all the mountains over here are normal mountains, pointy. But the mountains between those points, that crater, the negative and the positive mountain that is flattened, in between those mountains are also flattened. Only in that area of the actual strike zone. And also what is interesting, the crater size is roughly the same size as the mount. So this mountain, actually, if you turn it upside down, it almost fits exactly into that crater. Qua size. This is something else, but just want to point it out that indeed craters. Yeah. Those are you have
They also call them
always a positive and a negative close to a crater.
Yeah. They're also called the cosmocrates, the planets, like the crates in heaven. And then you get Cosmo Kramer from Seinfeld, right? The crates. You see what I'm saying? Or the krites. Even the critters. There was what was the movie? It was the Gremlins, and they called them the critters or the krites. Remember that? Yeah. They were the guys, who were the characters in that movie? And they said, we're here to kill the krites or the critters. It was some movie. Anyways, it said krites. I just had an aha moment. Yeah, I think it was called Critters. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And I think it was English actors that were the guys that came, I believe, and said, we're here to kill the krites. Anyways, craters. Yeah, no, I thought it was interesting because I think there's something happening there with why they're doing this stuff. Like, I don't think that these patterns are random. Like any sort of interesting patterns of bricks and the sine wave or serpentine shapes. I think that's a constant dance. Like Karen was showing me, I forget, Karen, what was the name of the guy who had the video of the path of the sun? And oh my gosh, I mean the moon, pardon me.
Stan Smith, probably. Stan Smith,
yeah,
I think.
The goggles and how the goggles. Wow, I mean that was, thank God for that guy, because that shows you what they're doing. I mean, everything has to be doing this figure eight. But what was interesting is in the video, it was doing this panoramic thing, but you kept seeing this figure eight and it was staying on the flat disc, but it was moving and making your eyes think that it was doing something else. So it was trippy. So yeah, I think that when you think about chaotic energies trying to create a result, like for example, when women give birth, sometimes it hurts and they, like I think they shouldn't be suffering so much.
It hurts. It really hurts.
Pardon me. Okay, I'm just saying maybe some women have given birth without having to struggle too much. I don't know. I'm just saying. All right, yes, it does. So we know it does. I didn't want to generalize. Okay, great. So it's painful. Why? Right. What kind of pain is that, right? Why do you get cramps, for example? Women get the cramps. And why is the universe setting this pattern of, right? Well, there's something about chaos and darkness and negative energy that is required to make us. So that crater or whatever that old stuff is and all these buildings that got destroyed, all the stuff that got destroyed, think about it. It all came to a result of who as a result? Us, 2018. We are the temples today. Those buildings, we're walking temples. Solomon, we're Solomon's temples. So we are walking reflections of these craters. And so even DJs say, hey, I'm digging in the crates, digging in my crates for my records. I want a record of my life. I want to record my memories so I can remember. Mem in Hebrew means water. Mem, I can flow in my brain. My cerebral spinal mean spiral. I'm a football player. I'm going to throw you a spiral. The best quarterback, spiral, of course. So craters, bam, spirals, right? All of that to do what? It has to be a reason for these destructive things. Think about it. Venus was the 5th planet, and when she was born, she destroyed the Earth. Fact. Research the cataclysm of the indigenous people. They call her Kukulkan, Athena. It goes on and on. It will save you research if you research Venus. Everything is about her. Think about it. She came, boom, she's the 5th element. She appears, all of a sudden, there's copper found in your brain. Venus rules copper. So what I'm really thinking here is that these orbs are fighting and destroying the Earth, the war of the gods. They're trying to figure out, in my opinion, this is my theory, they're trying to figure out how to make the best result. It's us. Hence why I give birth and I'm hurting to give life, right? Sometimes you might get hurt. Making love can be painful sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, right? But it might be a good pain if we're working, to resolve the pain. But pain exists in our consciousness for a reason, right? So I think it could be interesting to look at it in that respect. Your pelvis means a container. You're containing. So who is moving your pelvis? The cup, the crater is a cup. You have a crater constellation too. I just had an aha moment. It's called the crater. It means a cup. In ballet, it's called coupe. It looks like this. Your foot does that. And you put the coupe on your ankle, and now you're a crescent or like a cup. Now I'm having an aha moment like you wouldn't believe. This is because of you all. That crater, in a sense, you have a deltoid bone, delta. I'm aligned with the earth, we know this. Cuboid in your foot, we know the earth is the cube in geometry. This is a crater, or these craters could be pelvises. Think about it. What hit that? A shape, a heavenly body mentioned in the Bible, earthly bodies and heavenly bodies. Wow. Symbolism, possibly, boom, creating a reflection of us, the pelvis. Because we have that symbol, right? Why all this stuff going on? You think about how we're fighting today to get the truth out, right? They're killing us with this stuff up here, this air shit. Today, pardon me, the stuff. There's so much of it today. The whole sky was this. There was not one part of the sky that I could solar gaze, and I tried to find it in seconds. And when the minute the sun was trying to do its thing, spiraling, sending their poison, aligning it, right? Are there parallel lines? Yes, there are parallel dimensions. There's a 33rd parallel north. I'm having an aha moment in Charleston, South Carolina. Now think about this. Parallel lines do more than just stay in one point. We know that there's things doing figure eights. Think about it. So what is going on up there with those chemtrails? What are they following? What do the constellations do? Wow. Think about it. Maybe, right? They're trying to interfere with your astrological angles. So when I get my birth chart reading and I see my angles, you can't make this stuff up, man and woman. Know your chart. They cannot control it. These are actors. They want to be the bull. They want to ride your bull. They want to take it for a ride. They want to kill it and then have an arena of people yelling in Spain, "Great, you just killed a tourist field." No. Bad dog. Beautiful ability, the matador, the beautiful concept. But killing the very thing that's up there that manifests itself into me as a Taurus. I'm now a human version of this bull. Why? Why is Cancer a scarab beetle or a crab and manifests into a human body? Why? Why is the earth destroying or being destroyed and rebuilding itself? Urgh. It's flat, right? This is cool. This is cool. It's flat. So the earth likes to grow stuff. Bing, bing, bing. Plants, mountains. Bing, bing, bing. Now, look at history. It's a timeline. Your flat disk is your timeline. Ding, 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 ding. Destroy, destroy, destroy. Nature, nature. Destroy, destroy. And then all of a sudden, human bodies appear. Huh. Out of nowhere. Research it. We're not monkeys and cavemen. We came literally like this. Like a thought. Artes.
Indeed. Right. We've been going for 3 hours, so maybe a nice ending for our show. Yeah. You basically finished your nice information flow.
Yes. Thank you for all.
Thank you, everybody, again, everybody in the chat and everybody that is watching and so. Thank you, Mia Investigates Woonsimmer, for watching. Thanks, James Manson in the chat, Lutz Jarkovic. Thanks, Lightwalker621. Thanks, Dave Cluis. Thanks, Harsh Truth Engineer. Thanks, the Astral Thief. He's also in the chat and also in the Hangout group. Thanks, Harsh Truth Engineer. I already mentioned him. Sorry again. Thanks, everybody in the chat room for being here again. Thanks, Boreas Equilon, if I pronounce it correctly. I hope I do.
Boros.
Thank you, Tommy Rogers. Thank you, Gorgon Diovsky. Wow. Thank you, everybody, for watching again. Thank you, Ian Corsley. Yeah. I hope I pronounce everybody's name as good as possible. But thank you
that's
for
really nice.
saying. It's also in the chat and also in our hangout.
Yeah,
thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you, Artis.
And
Yeah.
from everybody
you,
here, a big flat earth hug to everybody. And we're back tomorrow with Dojo. And
Yes.
Yes.
see you tomorrow. Thanks very much for watching.
Much love, chat room.
Thank you, artists, for all your stuff you showed us today. Amazing as usual. Thank you.
Wait, we didn't say dancers. Hold on. I'm going to count 3.
Oh,
You
yeah.
got to say dancers.
I left confused.
Okay, come on now.
Yeah.
1,
forgot that one.
2, 3.
We
All
are
Our
dancers.
dancers. Hey.
Yes.
Thank you, Jay. Good night,
Thank you.
everybody.
Night.
Good night.
good night.